You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 21-25 21-25 Chapter 467 Return 5 Lu Wenyan sighed with emotion. Soon, he smiled again and said, "This time, when I return to the human realm, my strength is only a so-so. I may not be able to do much. However, some things should be settled. It doesn't matter if I'm alive or you're alive. I hope that we'll meet again one day. If I'm alive, I hope that you won't be without a corpse collector. I'll send you back to the Great Xia Mansion. If you're alive, I hope that you can come find me and send me back to Lu City. After all, this is also my hometown." Xia Longwu nodded. He didn't say much. Lu Wenyan smiled again. He looked at his uncle who was quietly following behind him and said with a smile, "Uncle, do you want to stay here or come with me? Together." Uncle Lu said in a low voice. Xia Longwu wanted to say something but stopped. Lu Wenyan smiled and said, "My uncle can come with me. If I die, my uncle will be too lonely and my Lu family will be destroyed. He will be left alone to guard this broken city. Why bother?" Uncle Lu nodded silently. The Lu family was gone. Xia Longwu nodded slightly. Lu Wenyan smiled again and said, "I don't know if that cheap martial uncle of mine is reliable or not. I really don't trust him. Does the Xia family have any other preparations?" His cheap martial uncle was naturally the 10,000 heavenly saints. Yes. Xia Longwu nodded and said, "Don't worry. The Xia family still has some preparations. Even if my master really can't do it, the Xia family will find that guy. Even if they can't kill him, this time, he won't be able to hide it from everyone." "That's good. I don't hope to kill him. I only hope that we can completely confirm his identity. Once the seeds of suspicion are planted, everyone will be in danger. The human race will be in danger." Lu Wenyan said softly, "We were old comrades in arms in the past. Now, it's you who doesn't believe me." "I don't believe you. If this goes on, after 100 years, even a few half-emperors won't be able to advance successfully. The human race will also be scattered and won't be able to fight anymore. Now, the Great Qin King can still intimidate them. If the Great Qin King can't suppress them anymore, it will probably be the time for the human race to be exterminated." Xia Longwu nodded. He said, "So, we will definitely find him." Lu Wenyan smiled and said, "Don't be so absolute. If that fellow feels danger and doesn't come out, then it will be useless. He will come out." Xia Longwu looked at him. "You'll let him out? Is that so?" Lu Wenyan thought for a moment, he smiled and said, "I hope so. After making so many preparations, if he still doesn't come out, then there's nothing I can do. I'll return to the human realm and advance to the Sun-Moon realm first before doing something else. If he doesn't come out, then I'll let him continue to hold it in. If he doesn't come out this time, he won't be able to hide it for long. He knows it himself." Xia Longwu smiled, and so did Lu Wenyan. The two of them patted each other's shoulders, and Xia Longwu disappeared. Lu Wenyan turned to look at Uncle Lu and smiled. "Uncle, let's go. Let's go take revenge." Uncle Lu bared his teeth and smiled brilliantly. Revenge. Revenge for the destruction of the Lu family, revenge for Lu Wenyan's abolition, revenge for the abolition of the Divine Literature Department. It was time to go back and take revenge. On this day, Lu Wenyan began to set foot on the path of return. When he reached the human race's passageway, Lu Wenyan suddenly turned around. He shouted loudly, "I'm going back. To the human realm, to the ruins. To advance to the Sun and Moon realm, to attain the Tao, to step into the 9th level of the Sun and Moon realm in one day. I'll take revenge. I'll find you. I'll wait for you in the human realm. His last angry shout resounded through the sky. He was going back to the human realm, to advance. His aura was extremely powerful, but the aura of the peak of the mountain and sea realms suppressed the sun and moon, as bright as the sun. In the East Rift Valley, it was so quiet that it was frightening. The invincible warriors scattered all over the place were silent. After a long time, someone said softly, I hope that I won't see that scene, and I don't want to see that scene either. We're all comrades who fought against the 10,000 races together in the past. Old friends, don't lose any more people. Let's turn back from the lost path. Someone said in a soft voice, protect the others in peace. What happened 50 years ago is already over. Let them grow up. How long can we live? The group of people was well aware of this. At this moment, the situation of the human realm didn't seem to be a trap anymore. The invincible ones all knew that as the experts of the Divine Literature Department continued to advance to the Sun and Moon realm, and as Lu Wenyan advanced, he might step into the invincible realm, that person might not be able to hold it in anymore. There was also Invincible who said coldly, kill them when you need to kill them. Think carefully. If you step out now, you might get the chance to be dealt with lightly. Otherwise, once we find out, we probably won't have the chance. The great Xia King didn't look at them, but looked into the distance. After a while, he said, my Xia family is there, the multi-divine literature department is there, all of them are there. Everything is in the great Xia manner, including Yi Beishan's final divine languages, including everything. If you make a move again, unless I die, you die. Silence, silence. This round was an open plot. If you don't go, the many divine languages department will grow stronger. If you get the ruins, very soon, someone might succeed in attaining the Tao. The 10,000 clans will stop it, but the 10,000 clans will also stop it when the other party attempts to attain the Tao. Now, the 10,000 races wouldn't be able to kill their way into the human realm to stop it. The only one who could stop it was probably that traitor, Invincible. High up in the sky, the great Qin King coldly watched from the side. After a long while, he said, let's not talk about this anymore. If nothing happens this time, it means that we've misunderstood. Everyone, do what you should do. Don't fall for the 10,000 races ploy to sow discord. What the great Qin King said makes sense. It might just be a ploy to sow discord. Everyone, don't be too nervous. Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about how we can safely let everyone succeed in the Tao. We're old, and we still need fresh blood to inherit our will. The group of people laughed and cursed, as if they had returned to the past. 400 years ago, everyone had been like this. They had fought together in the heavens, barged into various worlds, killed countless people, and supported each other. This was how the human race was today. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2126. 2126 Chapter 468, Slaughter begins. Sun and moon are like dogs. 1. Human realm. The news quickly spread. Lu Wenyan is back. He's going to the ruins to advance to the sun and moon realm. He even said that he'll step into the 9th layer of the sun and moon realm in one day. Lu Wenyan, can he do it? Lu Wenyan is the #1 person in the world with multiple divine runes. The news spread. Outside Nanyuan City. In a newly built great hall, a young man asked in puzzlement, Lu Wenyan? That half-crippled genius? General, why did you say that Lu Wenyan is the #1 person with multi-god literature in the world? I've seen his experience. Yes, in that era, he was indeed very talented, but he wasn't even able to soar into the sky. Isn't everyone too mythical about Lu Wenyan? Some of these young people came from the multiple divine languages department of the small world, and some were geniuses nurtured by the great estates themselves. There were fighters, and there were also civilized masters. Now, as soon as Lu Wenyan entered the heavenly estates, news spread everywhere. In the mouths of some of the older generation, Lu Wenyan, this fellow who hadn't even stepped into the sky in the past, was almost a legend. And among them, there were even some sun-moon realm experts. A guy who wasn't even in the sky, who had been crippled for 50 years, and who had recently relied on self-destructing Yi Baishan's divine prose to reach the peak of the mountain and sea realm by luck. What kind of peerless genius was he? What kind of number one person in the divine prose department was he? In everyone's eyes, not only did Hong Tan and Zhao Mingyue enter the sun and moon realm, Hong Tan was even younger than Lu Wenyan, and he had relied on himself to advance to the sun and moon realm. Lu Wenyan, an old piece of trash who had relied on external forces to enter the mountain and sea realm. How could he be considered the number one person? They didn't understand. They also felt that everyone had overestimated this person. Being questioned by these people, the sun and moon in the main hall, who wasn't too old, smiled and said softly, "Is he the number one person? Is there a need to ask?" What did he mean? Some people really didn't understand. Lu Wenyan wasn't considered the number one person. The sun and moon sighed and looked at everyone helplessly. After thinking for a while, a sun and moon divine script appeared and was casually thrown beside a Ling Yun realm genius. He said lightly, "Put it into my sea of consciousness." "Sir." "This." Ling Yun said helplessly, "This divine scripture is still active. If I can't do it, my sea of consciousness will explode." At this moment, the surroundings fell silent. It was as if they had thought of something. Of course, there were a few idiots who didn't care much. They continued, "General, does this have anything to do with Lu Wenyan being the number one person?" That sun and moon realm expert was speechless. Where did this idiot come from? Feeling a little tired, he said indifferently, "I'm at the third level of the sun and moon realm." There was still no solution. A few people who weren't very smart still didn't understand. At this moment, in the crowd, a young man sighed. He said, "We understand Sir's meaning. If that's the case, it's indeed a pity. If Lu Wenyan hadn't been considered as a successor in the past, perhaps he would have been able to step into the mountain sea sun and moon realm after stepping into the sky." At this moment, this sun and moon realm expert smiled and said, "Right. As expected, a civilized master's brain is a little more lively. Everyone always says that he is a civilized master who nurtures his nature, so how can he be considered the number one person? Nurtures his nature, you guys also know that it is nurtures his nature." He glanced at those stupid fellows. "You guys also know that he did not reach the sky. What realm was Yi Batian at? Quasi-invincible, an invincible existence. Just how strong was Yi Baishan's divine text? Many years later, Suyu casually dropped one and killed a few 4th or 5th level sun-moon experts. Lu Wenyan exploded and killed a 6th or 7th level sun-moon undead. And that year, Yi Batian left behind many divine texts, not just one. Then how strong was his divine text? Perhaps they were so powerful that even the sun and moon wouldn't dare to fuse with them. Of course, Lu Wenyan's and Yi Baishan's divine runes were very compatible. This was the key point. However, if they were to match again, wouldn't you try to fuse with the sun and moon divine runes? Even Ling Yun didn't dare. He was only at the third level of the sun and moon. When a divine rune appeared just now, even Ling Yun wouldn't dare to fuse with it. He was afraid that his sea of consciousness would explode. But what about Lu Wenyan? Those who understood naturally knew what was going on. Those who didn't understand would never understand without experience. Those who didn't have enough brains didn't need to explain. Below, someone had also figured it out. Previously, they had overlooked this point, and they asked in shock, "Sir, does that mean, at that time, the strength of his sea of consciousness might have been close to Ling Yun or even the mountains and seas. The Sun-Moon General nodded, the possibility is very high. Of course, it was difficult to know the exact situation without the person involved. However, it was true that the single divine literature department feared Lu Wenyan, and the 10,000 clans feared Lu Wenyan. He was indeed talented. He could succeed for 5 generations, but he could also fail for 5 generations. That was because the 10,000 clans knew about him during the 5th generation. Because of the 5th generation, he was crippled during the Golden Era. Even if he was crippled for 50 years, the many divine literature department was still waiting for his return. This sun and moon. With a face full of regret, he said, 50 years ago, he chose to inherit Yi Beishan's divine language. He didn't choose to continue on his own. It was very regrettable. Some people felt that he had taken advantage, and some people felt that he had suffered a loss. Without Yi Beishan's divine language, perhaps, he himself had reached this stage. He was at least at the middle stage of the sun and moon. His talent was much stronger than Hong Tan's. Back then, Lu Wenyan was ranked first, Xia Yinqi was second, Zhao Mingyue was third, Hu Ping was fourth, and Lord Xia was fifth. This was the top 100 list of the Great Xia Institute of Civilization. What? Some people were surprised. Lord Xia. Yes. This sun-moon expert seemed to remember something. He smiled and said, back then, the Great Xia Institute of Civilization was at the peak. All eyes were on it. The geniuses of the Great Xia Institute of Civilization were the geniuses of the heavens, the geniuses of the human realm. Peerless geniuses. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2127. 2127 Chapter 468, Massacre. The sun and moon were like dogs too. When the 5th generation was around, these people were glorious. On the eve of the 5th generation's Dao attainment, they were also at the peak. Were Xia Yinqi and the others strong? Of course they were strong. If they weren't strong, how could they inherit the sun and moon divine prose? Hong Tan, he always said that he was trash, but he wasn't being modest. In that era, he was trash, and everyone was surprised. How could the 5th generation accept Hong Tan? Later on, perhaps everyone understood that Hong Tan was more tolerant than Lu Wenyan and the others, and he could suffer losses. This general sighed endlessly. His words also shocked the younger generation. Hong Tan was the most trash. Master Xia Ho was ranked 5th, and Master Xia Ho was now at the 8th level of the sun and moon. The few people ranked above him were now only at the sun and moon realm. The number 1 Lu Wenyan wasn't even at the sun and moon realm. What did this mean? Of course, the Marquis physical body had reached the 8th level of the sun and moon realm, and he was backed by the Xia family. Don't forget, if Yi Badian did not die, they would also be invincible. Xia Yinqi was actually also a member of the Xia family. If that was the case, if these few people were not useless, perhaps there really was someone who could enter the 9th level of the sun and moon realm now. At this moment, even those who did not understand understood. The general continued, this is why everyone said that he, Lu Wenyan, is the number 1 person. A genius is a genius, a peerless reputation. It is not something that everyone is praising. If you were to cultivate your temperament to the peak of the sun and moon realm, you would also be a peerless genius. Even if he was the sun and moon realm, he had to admit that Lu Wenyan's talent was strong. He was stronger than him, stronger than everyone else. He had to admit that if the other party had not wasted 50 years, he would have easily beaten himself up by now. This was the difference. Even Xia Longwu was able to enter the quasi-invincible realm in a short period of time. One had to know that Lu Wenyan was more famous than Xia Longwu. Perhaps the person who was more famous than Xia Longwu today was Lu Wenyan. The great Xia king had personally been in charge of the southern Yuan for many years. Protecting Lu Wenyan was not only to protect Yi Baishan's divine runes. If that was the case, the great Xia king could wait for Lu Wenyan to be killed before retrieving those divine runes. Divine runes might not be as good as Lu Wenyan's. The number one person in the multiple divine runes department. At this moment, Su Yu, who was searching everywhere for the primordial sect leader, also received the news. He smiled and said, "A mountain and sea is the number one person. How tragic is the multiple divine runes department." Xian Jia glanced at him and did not say anything. Beside him, the great strength sect leader could not help but say, "What's wrong with him being the number one person? Does he have the temperament of the sun and moon peak divine runes or multiple divine runes? Why don't you give it a try?" Su Yu was speechless. "Fine, I'll give it a try. What's wrong with that? When I was cultivating my character, I didn't have such a powerful divine inscription for me to inherit. Perhaps, I might have even fused an even stronger divine inscription. That golden atlas of mine might be an invincible divine inscription. Are you afraid? I don't even have a cultivation of character. I have it since I was young. Alright, I won't be jealous." Teacher Lu's sea of consciousness was indeed very strong. Su Yu had been there before, and it was as vast as the ocean. It was definitely stronger than an ordinary sun and moon. Thinking about it now, it was indeed impressive that Lu Laoshi was able to inherit it back then. However, Su Yu felt that it might have something to do with the fifth generation. No matter how talented Lu Laoshi was, he wouldn't be able to cultivate a sun and moon realm sea of consciousness just by cultivating his disposition. It might have been forcefully widened by the fifth generation. It was hard to be sure, but he would be able to find out later on. Seeing that Lu Laoshi remained silent, the massive strength cult master was finally able to turn the tables around. He felt a little exhilarated. "You are only at the early stage of the sun and moon realm, and your tone is frighteningly arrogant. You have been ordering us around all day long. If it weren't for the fact that you are new here and aren't that familiar with the heaven hunting pavilion, I would have given you a slap a long time ago." Xian Jia said, "Xian Jiu, if we can't find him, let's return to the southern Yuan first. Once Lu Wenyan returns and advances to the sun and moon realm, perhaps before he advances to the sun and moon realm, the southern Yuan will be in chaos." Su Yu's heart skipped a beat. "Let's keep looking. It'll take Lu Wenyan at least a day or two to reach the Great Xia Manor." Xian Jia continued, "I'm afraid that he won't be able to make it. If he does, I'm afraid that he won't be able to enter the southern Yuan." "What do you mean, Elder? Do you think that the people from the myriad clans and other manors of the human race are willing to let this number one person enter the ruins? This is a civilized master's ruin. His talent is astonishing. What if when Tombstone recognizes him as its master?" Su Yu curled his lips and smiled. "It can't be that serious, right? He has stayed in the southern Yuan for 50 years, but he still hasn't recognized him as its master. How can he recognize him as its master just like that? That's hard to say. Perhaps it wasn't the time yet." Su Yu understood the meaning of the mystic armor. It was best to go take a look so that Lu Wenyan wouldn't have an accident. When Lu Wenyan returned, he was accompanied by a person. The Lu family's eldest uncle had just recovered his sun and moon strength. This strength was not enough for him now. Also, that invincible traitor might have some experts under him. Who said that he had to wait until Lu Wenyan reached the southern Yuan and advanced to the sun and moon realm before killing him? Wouldn't it be much easier to kill Lu Wenyan now? Only a fool would wait. Su Yu also thought of this. However, he was a member of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, so he could not rush to find Lu Wenyan. Su Yu smiled and said, "We're still in the human realm, so how could anyone be so bold as to kill someone in such a hurry? In the past, there was the Myriad Clan sect, but now, everyone in the Myriad Clan sect is one of us, so the human realm is still considered safe. The sect master of huge strength sect and the others snorted. These words sounded as if they were unpardonable evil. Alright, they were indeed unpardonable evil. But how was your Xianjiu better than us? These past few days, he was either killing people or on his way to killing them. It was only now that he was able to track down the primordial sect leader, which was better. But at this moment, Suyu was suddenly slightly startled. Strange, the talent hunting list that Ji Hong is carrying seems to be moving towards the direction of the Heavenly Prefecture. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 21-28 21-28 Chapter 468 Slaughter opened, sun and moon like dogs 3. What was going on? Suyu's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly said, let's go to the Heavens Prefecture and see if this person is the number one person in the human realm, and also see if we can catch that primordial. Yes. The group of people sped up. They were all sun and moon realm experts, and they didn't even bring their mountain and sea realm white faces. A group of sun and moon realm cultivators was also extremely powerful. They were so arrogant that they were able to cross the manors. As long as they didn't directly barge into the manors, even the manors wouldn't care. There were more than 20 sun and moon realm cultivators, and there were quite a few at the later stage of the sun and moon realm. Once a battle broke out, even the manors might be destroyed. One look and one could tell that they were probably the people from the heaven hunting pavilion. If there was nothing else, there was no need to deliberately provoke them. Suyu did not feel proud and only felt depressed. On the side of the human realm, there were some big manors that were really King useless. What was wrong with having more than 20 suns and moons? They were right outside your door. Fight. They were so arrogant outside your door, yet you did not even fight. As expected, they were far inferior to those invincible manors that had opened a few hundred years ago. Of course, they did not go to the Great Qin Manor to take a look, or else they might be beaten up. Just as Suyu led his people to the heavenly residence. On the heavenly residence's side, Yi Hongyan was escorting them. This time, the Great Xia Manor really could not spare anyone. Yi Hongyan was worried that they would be in danger, so he chose to personally escort Lu Wenyan and the others to the southern Yuan. On the way, Lu Wenyan was gentle and elegant, and his smile was like a spring breeze that filled his face from beginning to end. Great Aunt, it's fine. I'm just on my way. Please send me off. Great Aunt, this title was not wrong. Suyu was not there, so he did not hear it. Otherwise, he would have to call her master's wife. He had called her master's wife before, and it was not wrong for him to call her master's wife. If Suyu counted again, then he and Yi Badian were of the same generation. Yi Badian was of the same generation, so he could still take advantage and call Wan Tianxing his nephew. Of course, Wan Tianxing was called junior brother Yi Badian in name, but he was actually a junior nephew. If he counted again, then Xia Longwu's seniority was too low, Suyu could call him his grandson. Of course, Suyu, who was afraid of death, would not do that. Calling him Great Aunt made Yi Hongyan think of a lot of things. She could not help but sigh. When you were brought back by Badian, you were still so young. In the blink of an eye, you are already so old. He sounded like a grandson, but in reality, he was really a grandson. Lu Wenyan laughed, that's because I was young. Your mouth is so sweet. Yi Hongyan smiled and said, it's only because of this mouth that I was able to deceive a few girls. Lu Wenyan could not pretend anymore and said helplessly, Great Aunt, isn't that a girl? You're already so old, where did the girl come from? If you really want to get married and have children, how old are your grandchildren? Yi Hongyan sighed a little and quickly smiled and said, there's still a chance. Badian was lonely for his entire life. Even until he died, he did not leave anything for the Yi family. You're still young, there's still a chance. Lu Wenyan smiled and didn't say anything. Yi Hongyan quickly said, "Don't be afraid, and don't worry. This is the human realm, not the heavenly battlefield. I've already informed that Ox knows to come back. He's already so old, what's the point of attaining Tao? It's a waste of opportunity. Let him come back and seize the ruins for you. This time, the civilized manor has been seized by you. With the 2 carrying objects and the 1 tombstone, you might be able to enter quasi-invincible soon. As for attaining Tao, don't be anxious, take your time. Great Aunt, it won't be that easy. Don't let Principal Nyo delay it. He wants to attain the Tao. This is a big matter." Yi Hongyan snorted. Attain the Tao? He doesn't have such an opportunity. If he really had such an opportunity, it wouldn't have been the great Ming King who attained the Tao back then, but him. When he was young, he didn't even have enough opportunities, let alone now, he's already so old. Nyo Bai Dao was a little luckier and had already attained the Tao long ago. Why did he have to wait until today? Even now, he was still lacking a section, and he might not even be able to find the second lode. If he didn't obtain a 3rd-generation body, what was the point of attaining Tao? He would just have to wait for the other party to attain Tao. This time, there were quite a number of people who went. However, there were still some people who didn't have a load now, and they might even have to wait for the Invincible War in the end. During the Invincible War, there would be an Invincible Fall, or a 3rd-generation body fall, and then they would take the opportunity to attain Tao. This was also a common way of attaining Tao. The carriers of attaining Tao all depended on snatching. There were carriers in the residence of a civilization. This time, there would probably be some people snatching them. After snatching them, there might be some people who did not even go to the heavenly battlefield and attain Tao at the human realm. Just as he was thinking, Yi Hongyan roared, "Who are you? How dare you?" A long sword pierced through the void. Kill. Yi Hongyan might be a woman, but she was also a decisive person. She controlled the long sword and instantly killed her way into the void. "Wen Yen, be careful." Yi Hongyan shouted in a low voice. She had already disappeared. She knew that this might be an expert that lured her away, but she had no choice but to leave. If she fought here, she was afraid that Lu Wenyan wouldn't be able to withstand the aftershocks. "Great Aunt, be careful." Lu Wenyan let out a low growl and furrowed his brows tightly. Beside him, Lu family's eldest uncle took out the earth soldier. The one that was repaired by Suyu last time was extremely vigilant and full of killing intent. The Lu family was a bandit, cough cough, they were born as vultures. Vultures were people who picked up corpses on the battlefield of the heavens. There were not many good people. In fact, Lu Wenyan was not one of them either. He had gone to the eastern Rift Valley to pick up corpses since he was young, and now he was just pretending to be gentle and refined. At this moment, Uncle Lu was protecting his path. He said in a low voice, "Let's go, quickly head to the southern Yuan. This time, no one from the Xia family will come to protect the path." It was not that there was no one, it was that they really could not come. The great Xia manor had to defend, and the southern Yuan had to face so many experts. If anyone else came, it would be troublesome. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 21-29. 21-29 Chapter 468, Slaughter Begins. The sun and moon are like dogs for. The road of return this time was more difficult than expected. Lu Wenyan nodded and did not delay. He quickly flew through the air. Whing! In the air, a huge axe smashed down. With a bang, Uncle Lu raised his huge knife and slashed down. "Lu Hao, you can't block it. Run by yourself. There's still a way out. Lu Wenyan must die." In the air, a demonic god walked out. An expert from the 10,000 races. He was going to kill Lu Wenyan. Lu family's uncle's eyes instantly turned red. It's you. The demonic god said coldly, it's me. Kill. Boom. A huge battle erupted. In the distance, Yi Hongyan also shouted continuously. His killing intent soared to the heavens. Rumble. A series of explosions sounded. Lu Wenyan did not say anything. He quickly tore through the air and continued to move forward. This path is impassable. In front of him, a palm covered over. Break! Lu Wenyan roared. He no longer used an axe, but a sword. With a slash, a bloody scar appeared on his huge palm. Ha! The sun and moon that blocked the path instantly revealed their true bodies. They said coldly, a top-notch genius of the divine literature department is indeed extraordinary. A mere mountain and sea can actually break my sun and moon body. Lu Wenyan laughed and said, a mere mountain and sea, you sure have a big mouth. Kill. As he shouted to kill, the next moment, Lu Wenyan quickly fled. The void split open. He had a divine literature that could break through the void and instantly break through the void, teleporting over 1,000 meters. Can you escape? We are not the only ones who want to kill you. Behind him, the sun and moon sneered. We are not the only ones who want to kill you, Lu Wenyan. The human race. All want to kill you. You want to inherit the ruins. You, Lu Wenyan, think too much. Go to hell. Right at this moment, in the distance, Yi Hongyan let out an explosive roar. With a poochie sound, she killed a top-tier expert at the 7th level of the Sun and Moon realm on the spot. The Sun and Moon fell. Meanwhile, Yi Hongyan was also covered in blood. Fresh blood was gushing out of her mouth as she rushed crazily toward Lu Wenyan. She roared angrily, how dare you! You killed my nephew in the past. Today, you shall step over my corpse first. Her nephew had been killed, and the only successor of the Yi family had been killed. She had been depressed over this for many years. Now, her nephew's successor wanted to return to the southern Yuan, but he was intercepted and killed in the human realm. She refused. The entire area was shaken. Yi Hongyan had killed a 7th-level Sun-Moon. Even though Yi Hongyan was heavily injured and killed a 7th-level Sun-Moon with such ease, it still shocked everyone. So strong. Was this woman really that strong? Yi Hongyan instantly arrived. The Sun and Moon expert who had surrounded Lu Wenyan earlier fled into the void without saying a word. Yi Hongyan, on the other hand, was incomparably crazy. He let out a mournful roar. A drop of blood essence exploded. The void exploded with a boom and instantly appeared in front of the Sun and Moon. Even Lu Wenyan was unable to stop him. Clearly, he was not too strong. He was stopped by Yi Hongyan. His sword pierced through his head and his sea of consciousness. Rumble. Another crescent moon crashed, and Yi Hongyan's injuries were even more severe. He broke through the void again and instantly arrived beside Lu Wenyan. As for Lu Wenyan, he was already badly injured by a 4th-level Sun and Moon realm expert. However, he had Yi Baishan's divine prose, so he could fight for a bit. Seeing Yi Hongyan madly charging over, the Sun and Moon might quickly flee. Yi Hongyan did not chase after him. He grabbed Lu Wenyan and quickly flew toward the Lu family's eldest uncle. He shouted, "Go, quickly!" As he shouted, blood dripped. He was seriously injured. The demonic god that blocked his way also quickly left at this moment. He did not dare to pester him. Uncle Lu was also covered in blood as he quickly returned. He coughed up blood and said, "Go, General Yi. I'll cover the rear. You take Wenyan and leave. My Lu family is grateful." The Lu family was gone. Uncle Lu revealed a look of determination. This time, it was his nephew's chance. Let's go. When he reached the southern Yuan and advanced to the Sun and Moon realm, his nephew would definitely sweep across the current generation and take revenge for the Lu family. Lu Wenyan, who had been captured by Yi Hongyan, sighed inwardly when he saw this. It seemed that he could only forcefully advance to the Sun and Moon realm now. Advancing was the same no matter where he went. He didn't advance by relying on some tombstone. Don't joke around. He had played with that thing countless times in the past, but it didn't bring any benefits. Even though he wasn't too clear about the Xia family's plans, including the matter of the tombstone and the remains, he knew that this thing definitely had something to do with Su Yu. That thing seemed to be on Su Yu's side. As for how he got to the Great Xia Manor, this wasn't clear. He was in the heavenly battlefield, but he knew that Su Yu had only made a few moves previously. He was still active recently. Perhaps the Xia family had gone to borrow it. Uncle, let's go together. Uncle Lu wanted to say something else, but Lu Wenyan shouted, let's go together. Don't waste any more time. There are still more experts. All right. The three of them did not say anything else and quickly flew into the sky toward southern origin. Boom! Just as they flew for a distance, Yi Hongyan shouted sternly and slashed out with his sword. However, he was struck back by a punch and fell to the ground, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to shake. The earth cracked. Another expert appeared once again. He was as tough as copper and his entire body was golden. 8th level Sun Moon Realm. Yi Hongyan, do you really have to court death? Yi Hongyan quickly flew up from the ground. His entire body was covered in blood as he shouted, you Dao protectors, you're courting death. This is the human realm, not the heavenly battlefield. Wu Ji will arrive very soon. You're talking about the heavenly residence. This 8th level Sun Moon expert chuckled and said, Wu Ji and the others won't be able to come. They have to guard the heavenly residence. There might be a huge battle in the heavenly battlefield. Yi Hongyan's expression changed. In order to kill Wenyan, you actually started a war. No, it's not a war. This Sun Moon expert smiled and said, it's just to test the strength of the human race. How can it be a war? The heavenly prefecture can't send anyone to save you. They have to guard the passage with their lives. Yi Hongyan, leave. I don't want to kill you. Niu Baidao seems to have entered the quasi-invincible realm. I don't want to be chased by a quasi-invincible expert for you. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2130. 2130 Chapter 468, Slaughter Begins. Sun and Moon are like dogs. Subscribe, 5. Yi Hongyan ignored him. She quickly grabbed Lu Wenyan and fled. At the same time, Su Yu had also arrived with his men. He sensed for a moment and frowned. There are so many Sun and Moon. Some of them even came from the Southern Yuan dynasty. Are they all going to chase after Lu Wenyan? The Xia clan was unable to provide support, and so was the heavenly residence. As for the other large manors, some were unable to provide support, while some experts left. For example, for the great Zhou clan, Zhou Potian and Zhou Polong had already left, but they still had to defend their own manors. Even if they didn't leave, there was no guarantee that they would come to rescue Lu Wenyan and the others. As a result, there was actually no one who could save Lu Wenyan and the others in this area. Su Yu frowned. Was this the 10,000 heavenly saints' plan, or was he really unable to rescue them? He had already seen the Sun and Moon fall. He had even seen an expert at the 7th level of the Sun and Moon fall. Clearly, a great battle had already broken out. On Lu Wenyan's side, he could guess who was protecting the path, Yi Hongyan. Yi Hongyan was also only at the 7th level of the Sun and Moon. After killing a 7th level Sun and Moon expert, he was bound to be heavily injured. The human race. Hee hee. Su Yu sneered and said, in the human race's encirclement of the many divine languages department, no one came to help. The human race is getting weaker and weaker. What about the sun and moon of the two holy lands? As he said that, Xian Jia said, there is also unrest in the two holy lands. The news just came. It seems that this group of people is going to kill Lu Wenyan. Su Yu sneered and said, that's true. Moreover, the human race may not be willing to see Lu Wenyan live to the southern Yuan. Xian Jia asked, what are your plans? Many people looked at Su Yu. What about the heaven hunting pavilion? Su Yu said faintly, why are you looking at me? Let's watch the show first. No, let's clean up the miscellaneous fish first. I can already smell the fragrance of the miscellaneous fish. Previously, I was unable to lure them out. Now, there are many sun-moon states scattered around this area. Kill them. Bai Yi could not help but ask, Xianjiu, kill 10,000 clans. What's wrong? We want to protect Lu Wenyan. Bai Yi still did not understand. There was no need for us to do such a thing, right? It was already a good thing if they did not kill Lu Wenyan together. Why would they want to protect him? What was wrong with Xianjiu? What was he thinking? Su Yu could not be bothered with him. He quickly transmitted his voice over the voice transmission channel. 8th Elder, the original cult master and Ji Hong might be nearby. If the original cult master is from the southern borderless, then he might be here to save Lu Wenyan. Lu Wenyan will not die, the original cult master is probably watching from the shadows. We will assassinate a group of people first and frame the original cult master to reduce the number of opponents. Are you sure he's around here? I'm sure. Su Yu quickly said, those idiots, killing Lu Wenyan now is just courting death. Of course, we can just watch the show and kill some people at the same time. After that, the original cult master made a move, and everything was done by him. If he didn't make a move, 8th Elder will pretend to be the original cult master. If he's not from the southern borderless, then the original cult master will also become the southern borderless. But once Lu Wenyan returns to the southern Yuan, what if he really inherits the ruins? 8th Elder was still a little worried, but the method was not bad. Whether or not it was the original cult master's rescue, it was all up to him. However, he did not want Lu Wenyan to arrive at the southern Yuan. Su Yu quickly said, 8th Elder, pretend for now. If the original cult master does not come, Lu Wenyan's life and death is not up to us to decide. When the time comes, it is not too late to kill Lu Wenyan after killing everyone else. If the original cult master is really hiding in the dark, we don't need to rush to take action. Alright. 8th Elder, please give the order. Bai Yi's enforcers will never understand what business is. If they don't pay, how can they reap the rewards? 8th Elder laughed and transmitted his voice, they are enforcers and don't understand these things. Otherwise, you wouldn't be the person in charge of the Great Xia Mansion, would you? That's true. Su Yu laughed. A moment later, everyone received the message from the 8th Elder. Listen to Xianjiu's command. Su Yu snorted coldly. I hope that no one will doubt my decision next time. Everyone was shocked. Bai Yi was also slightly shocked and quickly said, yes. Let's go. Ju Li will bring 5 people, and the Earth Fire will bring 5 people. The Xian Jia Elder and I will take the others and split into 3 teams to assassinate all the non-heaven hunting pavilions sun and moon. Assassinate? Everyone was speechless. You call this an assassination? There were already dozens of sun and moon here. If they were to fight, the sky and earth would collapse. You call this an assassination? It was more like a forced assassination. Su Yu could not be bothered with them. He gestured to the black-armored elder and the group of people quickly disappeared from where they were. Ju Li and the Earth Fire Sect Master were helpless, so they could only take their people and quickly leave. A paper crane flew out of Su Yu's hand. It was used to track the heaven hunting roll. Those guys probably have the heaven hunting roll with them. Let's finish them quickly and kill anyone they meet. Suyu gave the order and the black armor transmitted his voice, "Where are the humans?" "Kill." Suyu snorted coldly. He could feel the battle on Lu Wenyan's side. If they were humans and hadn't gone to rescue them, then they definitely didn't have good intentions. They would just kill them. Xian Jia did not say anything. Suyu was also more certain that this fellow was most likely a human. However, he might not necessarily be on the same side as the polytheistic literature department. In other words, he had not returned to the human realm in the past few decades, so he did not know at all. The polytheistic literature department had long been at odds with many humans. A moment later, the flying crane stopped at a place. Suyu did not say anything. He threw a punch into the void. A sun and moon appeared in the sky in an instant. It was a little scared and shouted, "What is the heaven hunting pavilion doing? Kill!" Along with Suyu's words, other than the 12 Sun and Moon Realm experts from both sides, there were still many Sun and Moon Realm experts who attacked one after another. There were weapons, spears, swords, and halberds. Together with the mystic armor of the 8th level of the Sun and Moon Realm, fighting a 3rd level of the Sun and Moon Realm, it was really like using a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. Boom! With a loud sound, the void exploded. The Sun Moon was directly smashed into pieces and returned to its original form. It was a huge crocodile. At this moment, it instantly exploded, and even when it died, it was on the verge of collapse. It must be crazy. The heaven hunting pavilion had really gone crazy. They were killing people everywhere. Were they really not afraid that all the clans would target them? What does the original cult master's killing have to do with us? Suyu was indifferent. 1.5 moons had fallen. At the same time, another half moon had fallen on the entire wilderness. In a short while, another one had fallen. Today, it could be considered as the start of a massacre. One after another, including Yi Hongyan's killing, a total of 5 suns and moons had fallen. The 8th level Sun Moon who was chasing after Yi Hongyan and the others was shocked. He shouted angrily, "Who? What was going on?" Suddenly, half a moon crashed from all directions. This was the scene of the sun and moon being killed. What was going on? Who killed them? The people who came today were all here to kill Lu Wenyan and the others. Even if they had a personal grudge, there was no need to kill them now. Moreover, there was more than one place. In an instant, 3 half-moons crashed. At least 3 people were killing. At this moment, this 8th-level sun-moon was also shocked. Even if it was a 2nd or 3rd-level sun-moon, it wouldn't be so easy to kill it. Unless, the opponents were all high in the sun and moon. Where did so many high in the sun and moon come from? Yi Hongyan and the others who were fleeing in front were also shocked. Yi Hongyan said in surprise, "Reinforcements?" She was heavily injured, but she was incomparably surprised. As for Lu Wenyan, he frowned slightly and said, "Great aunt, hurry up and leave. They might not be reinforcements. To kill 3 suns and moons in an instant, it might be because 3 suns and moons are so powerful. They really are reinforcements. They should be here to save us, not to kill those suns and moons." Yi Hongyan was shocked and quickly fled. That's right, they might not be reinforcements. If they were enemies, let alone 3 suns and moons, even if another came and blocked their path, they would not be able to escape death. As they were speaking, another half-moon crashed. This time, a shrill roar resounded through the sky. "It's the heaven hunting pavilion, ranking tracking." An expert roared before he died. In the next moment, Xian Jiu's cold voice resounded in all directions. "Everyone has misunderstood. It's the original cult master. He's from the southern borderless. Our heaven hunting pavilion is currently surrounding and killing the southern borderless. Do you, the southern borderless, still want to confuse us? Boom! In the next moment, everyone saw a shocking scene. In the sky, 3 sun and moon figures were fighting with an incomparably powerful illusory figure. Around them were dozens of sun and moon realm experts. Suyu shouted, "Quickly come and help. The southern borderless territory wants to save Lu Wenyan and the others. They want to kill all of you." In all directions, the sun and moon experts were stunned. Which one was real? At this moment. In the void, the primordial sect leader who was holding Ji Hong was slightly stunned. I killed him. That was the 8th elder of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion's law enforcement department, right? He was stunned for a moment. Was he trying to frame me? Even though I was prepared to make a move, wasn't the Heaven Hunting Pavilion going overboard by framing me? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2131. 2131 Chapter 469 Mass Murder 1. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion said that they were surrounding and killing the southern borderless, or rather, the original cult master. Dozens of suns and moons were indeed fighting a powerful and terrifying figure. That person's face was illusory and couldn't be seen clearly, but he had the bearing of the original cult master. But could you believe it? That suns and moons were clearly killed by the Heaven Hunting Pavilion before they died. Moreover, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion had been killing wantonly recently. Most of the sun and moon that died in the human realm these days were actually killed by the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. More than 10 sun and moon realm experts had died when the 10,000 clans entered the realm and the remains appeared. Either the Heaven Hunting Pavilion killed them or the Heaven Hunting Pavilion members. Unbelievable. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion now was much more aggressive than in the heavenly battlefield. In the past, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion was not aggressive at all. They just fanned the flames behind the scenes, such as selling some information or selling someone's location. Now, they were all going down personally. Just as everyone was suspicious and fearful, Xian Jiu shouted, "Retreat. Original cult master, we don't interfere with each other's business. You kill your people, and we do our mission. There's no need to tangle with us." After he said that, Suyu waved his hand, and dozens of suns and moons retreated. The illusory person did not pursue. He surveyed his surroundings and spoke in a low voice, "I'm only here for Lu Wenyan. I don't wish to commit any more murders." Suyu brought those sun and moon experts as he retreated. He smiled, "Do as you wish. Our mission doesn't conflict with yours." Suyu pointed at the devil god who was at the 8th level of the sun and moon realm and laughed, "They are the ones who wanted to kill Lu Wenyan, it has nothing to do with us. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion doesn't meddle in other people's business and we just happen to bump into each other. Sect leader, don't tangle with us." After saying this, the figure of the original sect master flashed. In the next moment, he appeared in front of a first-level sun-moon realm expert. Before that expert could say anything, he was grabbed by his hand. Boom! With a loud sound, he crushed the other party. Half Moon fell again. The 6th sun-moon that had fallen. The 8th-level sun-moon demonic god turned pale with fright and shouted, "All of you, leave. No, gather together." If they left, they would be hunted down by the original cult master. He was an almost invincible existence. If they encountered him alone, they would definitely die, even if he was at the 8th-level sun-moon. They could only work together like the Heaven Hunter Pavilion. As soon as he said this, regardless of whether they were hiding or not, they all gathered over. The original cult master was extremely cold and said indifferently, "Since you're here, don't even think about leaving." At this moment, the 8th elder was also addicted. Killing, pretending to be someone else to kill, it was indeed very satisfying. With the sun and moon blood essence and the storage ring, there were many benefits. The key was that killing didn't require him to shoulder the responsibility. It was all done by the original cult master. He traveled in all directions, killing those who escaped alone. His speed was frighteningly fast. In the distance, Suyu brought a group of people and quickly retreated. The sect master of huge strength sect asked in puzzlement, "We're leaving just like that?" Suyu ignored him. Huge strength was furious, but the sect master of earth fire sect smiled and said, "Brother Xianjiu, aren't we going to continue?" Only then was Suyu satisfied. It was too difficult for the 7th level of the Sun Moon sect to call his excellency. However, looking at the sect master of earth fire sect, he knew how to conduct himself. Suyu explained, "We're not leaving. Go to the outer area and guard those who are escaping. We won't let any of them go. When they gather, all of them will gather together and it will be easier to kill them. But, they're all gathered, and their strength isn't weak either. There should be around 10 or 20 suns and moons, right? Right now, the number of suns and moons should be around 10 or 20. This time, the number of suns and moons that the 10,000 clans had entered the realm was over 100. As for the human realm, the 10,000 clans sect, and the 10,000 clans experts that he had infiltrated previously, there were around 40 to 50 of them. Adding the human realm experts himself, there were at least close to 300 suns and moons gathered at the Great Xia Manor and here. This was also the time that the Sun and Moon realm experts had gathered the most in the past few hundred years, apart from the opening of the Star Mansion. When the Star Mansion was opened, the various clans would fight for a spot. Normally, there would not be any life or death battles. However, this time, there was a continuous life or death battle. In a short moment, 6 Sun and Moon realm experts were killed. Suyu quickly said, "In addition, we have to stop Lu Wenyan and the others. Otherwise, wouldn't we have wasted our efforts?" On one hand, he had to conform to his character. On the other hand, Suyu was also worried that these people would run around randomly and be easily killed by others. It was better to be under my watch and feel more at ease. As for when 8th Elder wanted to deal with them later, he would wait and see. If it didn't work, he would let Zhu Tiandao take action. Yes, old Zhu. This time, Suyu didn't contact the Xia family, so old one wouldn't come out. However, old Zhu still had time. Old Zhu didn't leave. This time, the invincible human race gathered those peak 9th level Sun-Moon cultivators and quasi-invincible cultivators to prepare for the Dao test, but old Zhu wasn't among them. Suyu was not surprised at all. Lao Zhu had just entered the 9th level Sun-Moon. With this strength, there was no way he would be able to achieve the Dao. It was normal for him to stay in the human realm. Later, when there was really no other way, he would let Lao Zhu pass by unintentionally. Although he could not defeat 8th Elder still had to be careful that the Ming Wang was still in the human realm. He had to be careful that if his son came, Lao Zhu would come. The probability of others was not high, but the probability of the Zhu family was high. Suyu calculated these plans clearly. Very soon, he led a group of experts and chased after Lu Wenyan and the others. As he chased, he shouted, "Lu Wenyan, don't be in a hurry to leave. The city lord of ancient city, Suyu, placed an order for us to protect your safety." He paid a high price, and the heaven hunting pavilion accepted the order. Bai Yi and the others cursed in their hearts. He really knew how to talk nonsense. That fellow, Suyu, didn't even have the heaven hunting list. Now, he probably didn't even know what happened in the human realm. How dare you talk about this? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2132 2132 Chapter 469 Mass Murder 2. Well, this reason was quite reasonable. First, Suyu could afford this price. Second, Suyu had this reason to be willing to pay a huge price to hire dozens of Sun and Moon to protect Lu Wenyan and the others. He had the strength, the capital, and the reason, the credibility was still very high. Bai Yi and the others cursed silently. Xian Jiu had really taken advantage of the situation. He had just asked 8th Elder to kill someone, and now he was trying to trick Lu Wenyan and the others. In front, Yi Hongyan's speed slowed down, but Lu Wenyan quickly said, "Go, don't bother with them." After saying that, he looked at the people chasing behind him and smiled. "Then I'll have to trouble you all. But don't follow too closely. Keep 10,000 meters away from us and escort us to the southern Yuan." Who knew if these people were real or not? Maybe they were lying to him. "Let's run first." Su Yu cursed in his heart. Run for what? If they ran far away, it would be difficult to deal with 8th Elder. Moreover, if they really ran away, it would be hard to explain. He was now Xianjiu. It would be too embarrassing if there was a problem even when he tried to intercept Lu Wenyan. "I, Xianjiu, can do anything. Xianjia Elder, please speed up and stop them." Su Yu shouted in a low voice and Xianjia transmitted his voice, "Are we really going to stop them? What on earth was this brat thinking? If they stopped them, what if 8th Elder returned and killed these people? Stop them." Alright, since Su Yu said so, Xianjia thought about it. No matter how ruthless this fellow was, he would not be able to kill Lu Wenyan. It was better to stop him. His figure flashed. His speed was extremely fast, much faster than Yi Hongyan and the others. Furthermore, Yi Hongyan was heavily injured. In the blink of an eye, the black armor blocked in front of them. He smiled and said, "The few of you, it's better to stop for a moment. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion has accepted the mission. We can't let the few of you leave just like that." Yi Hongyan hesitated. Was this an enemy or a friend? As for Lu Wenyan, he also frowned. The black armor didn't make a move. He did not make a move. Now that he was fighting with the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, he was at a slight disadvantage. What were these people trying to do? They were really hired by Su Yu. He had already said that it was enough to protect the path from behind. Why did they stop us? He was very vigilant, but he did not continue to escape at this moment. After a while, Su Yu brought his men and chased after them. The speed of the mystic armor was really not to be underestimated. It was quite fast. Su Yu smiled and said, "I am Xianjiu. Greetings General Yi, greetings everyone." Lu Wenyan revealed a smile and said amiably, "I have also heard of Lord Xianjiu's name. May I know why you stopped us?" Su Yu smiled and said, "It's nothing. We can leave later. Do the three of you really think that the original cult master has come to save you? My pavilion elder is just killing those people. If you leave just like that, what if you encounter quasi-invincible again on the way?" Lu Wenyan was shocked. He looked behind him and could not help but say, "This is, an elder of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion?" Su Yu smiled and said, "Of course. Otherwise, how could we save you all?" This time, in order to save you all, Su Yu paid 500 drops of the Sun-Moon Profound Yellow Liquid, which was enough to kill a quasi-invincible. Therefore, my pavilion also went all out and dispatched a quasi-invincible realm to protect you. Hearing this, Lu Wenyan was skeptical. Su Yu spent so much money to hire them. It was too extravagant. Was it true? But if it was false, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion indeed had so many people. There were more than 20 Sun-Moon warriors, which was not a small number. There was also that quasi-invincible warrior who was in the middle of a big battle. Su Yu did not care about him. He smiled and said, "All of you, don't run anymore. It's dangerous ahead. This time, Mr. Lu's road of return is very long. There are many monsters and demons. It's probably difficult to rely on the heavily injured General Yi. It's better to wait for us. After we clean up these guys, we'll go together." Lu Wenyan was speechless. The heaven-hunting pavilion is indeed powerful. There are probably dozens of sun and moon this time, right? Probably. Suyu nodded and said solemnly, we didn't expect Mr. Lu to attract so many sun and moon. Saying that, he quickly said, we're going to help the elders kill the enemy. You'd better come with us to prevent you from running around and getting killed. If we fail this mission, the 500 drops of sun and moon mystic yellow liquid will be gone. Suyu's attitude was as if he was after money, but Lu Wenyan began to doubt it. He didn't reject it so much anymore. Besides, he was surrounded by more than 20 sun and moon experts. He would follow the heaven-hunting pavilion to take a look first. Then I will have to trouble you all. I don't dare. Suyu smiled. He was pleased in his heart. I saved you again. Teacher Lu isn't going to make it now. Of course, he knew Lu Wenyan and Yi Beishan's divine prose. Now that he had reached the peak of the mountain and sea realm, his battle prowess shouldn't be weak either. Since he hadn't erupted yet, he was probably still waiting. Otherwise, Suyu wouldn't have been able to kill those sun and moon experts so easily. Without saying anything else, he brought Lu Wenyan and the others along. Soon, Suyu and the others arrived on the battlefield. The battle was breaking out. The sun and moon in the surroundings continued to gather. Soon, 17 to 18 sun and moon realm warriors gathered around the sun and moon demon god. Among them, 4 were at the high level of the sun and moon realm, 3 were at the 7th realm, and 1 was at the 8th realm. Such a powerful force was used to surround and kill Lu Wenyan. It could be seen that the 10,000 clans had a strong desire to kill Lu Wenyan. Not only that. Suyu felt that there were a few people in the crowd who might be human. Of course, these people were all wearing masks. In fact, it was fine if they didn't wear masks. Everyone knew that these people were probably human. They just didn't want to expose their identities. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2133. 2133 Chapter 469 Massacre Embryo 3. It could be someone from a large mansion, or it could also be that subordinate who betrayed the invincible. The 8th elder was currently fighting with them, and at this moment, the sky and earth were shaking. The 8th elder was incomparably powerful. After all, he was quasi-invincible, and when he fought, he was also incomparably valiant. With a punch, even those below the 7th layer of the sun and moon would have to retreat. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to block it at all. Now, the 4 late-stage sun and moon realm cultivators were defending in the inner circle while the other sun and moon realm cultivators were attacking from the outer circle. 17 to 18 people managed to tie down the 8th elder. This was the difference between quasi-invincible and invincible. Of course, this was also because the 8th elder might have obtained the past body, not the future body. Or, if the future body was not strong enough, not everyone could obtain an incomparably powerful future body. The 8th elder was stronger than an ordinary 9th level sun-moon god, but compared to a strong quasi-invincible god, there was still a huge gap. If it were Yi Batian, who was quasi-invincible, the 17 or 18 sun-moon gods present would have probably been killed long ago. After fighting for a while, the 8th level sun-moon god shouted, "You are not a primitive." Among them, a 7th level sun-moon god of the celestial race also shouted coldly, "You are definitely not a primitive sect master. Who are you?" The original cult master had interacted with the celestial race before. At any rate, he was the cult master of the celestial race who had developed in the human realm. This person's battle techniques were not what the original cult master was good at. Very soon, someone shouted, "He is not the original cult master. He is from the heaven-hunting pavilion. He should be the 8th elder of the heaven-hunting pavilion." As soon as these words were said, the sun and moon were extremely terrified. At this moment, Suyu had brought some people to the vicinity. Looking at the Sun and Moon Realm warriors of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, there were more than 20 of them. Including this quasi-invincible one, an expert said angrily, "Does the Heaven Hunting Pavilion really want to fight to the death with us?" How many Sun and Moon Realm warriors had been killed? Su Yu's eyes flickered, he roared, "Is the original cult master here? Why don't we join hands and kill all these people? My pavilion has accepted the mission to protect Lu Wenyan, but we didn't accept the mission to kill them. If the cult master is willing to cooperate, my pavilion doesn't mind killing these guys to prevent future trouble." Silence. Su Yu was puzzled. Not here. But Ji Hong's ranking board was nearby. He had always suspected that this original cult master might know his identity and had deliberately lured him here. Otherwise, logically speaking, he should have been aware of certain situations. For example, Ji Hong might have a talent hunter ranking on him, and that would have led to his position. Also, was this fellow really here to save Lu Wenyan? What if Lu Wenyan fell into his hands just like that? Su Yu shouted again, "Cult Master, are you unwilling to cooperate? Or are you worried that the invincible human will attack you? Don't worry, Cult Master. Our pavilion also wants to find this person. If that person really comes, the two quasi-invincible ones still have some hope of dealing with the other's third incarnation. Even if we delay for a moment, it will be enough for our pavilion to confirm his identity. His identity is enough to sell for a good price." At this moment, the demon god at the 8th level of the Sun and Moon shouted, "8th Elder, Xianjiu, you are only doing this for the mission. Why do you need to kill us all? We have money too." Su Yu did not mind stalling for time, he smiled and said, "How much do you want to pay for your lives? How about 100 heaven-earth mystic light rays?" The 8th level Sun-Moon demonic god was also helpless, he quickly added, "In addition, we will also send 300 heaven-earth mystic light rays to let the Heaven Hunting Pavilion kill Lu Wenyan." Su Yu could not be bothered with him, he transmitted his voice, "Huge strength, earth fire, bring some people to help and kill them. The black armored elder will protect us from being ambushed." All right. The two late-stage Sun-Moon Realm experts were also a little excited. It was a big scene. Surround and kill the Sun-Moon clan. In the past, these people were the masters, but now, we are the ones who are going to kill you. The two Sun-Moon Realm experts instantly charged into the battle. They couldn't fight against the wind, but they could fight against the wind. These people from the 10,000 clan sect still had the guts. After joining the two late-stage Sun-Moon Realm experts, the pressure on those people was huge. Boom! 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 The entire void was about to explode. The ground cracked, and some wild demonic beasts either died from the tremors or fled into the distance. This place was not too far from the Great Zhou Mansion and the Great Gold Mansion, but no one came to investigate. The aura of dozens of Sun-Moon cultivators erupted, radiating for hundreds of miles. Light blobs reflected in the void, and one could see clearly for thousands of miles nearby. Blazing suns were fighting in the air. It was obvious that the two manners did not want to participate in such a large-scale battle. Su Yu was also a little excited. How satisfying. He had long been displeased with these fellows. He could not kill many of them even if he wanted to. Even if he could kill a first or second level Sun and Moon, it would be useless. However, he was now Xianjiu, the person in charge of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. Look, more than 20 suns and moons could surround and kill. He had even killed several of them. This was the benefit of having a huge mountain behind him. In the void, Ji Hong's face was slightly pale as he looked at the illusory figure beside him. He said, "Cult Master, why aren't you making a move?" This time, he was here to save Lu Wenyan. Now that he had fallen into the hands of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, the cult master should have a decision as to whether he should make a move against the myriad clans or seize the opportunity to snatch Lu Wenyan and the others away. Should he just stand by and watch? Even now, he still couldn't believe that this person was from the southern borderless realm. The other party hadn't said that he was from the southern borderless realm either. Due to this, Ji Hong didn't have much trust in him. He had been observing him the entire time. The great Xia Manor wasn't the only one who could perform a double act. If this person was the one who betrayed Invincible, that would be a huge problem. Perhaps, he was trying to extract something from him. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2134. 2134 Chapter 469 Massacre Embryo 4. There's no rush. The illusory figure said calmly, let's wait and see. There are more than 40 suns and moons gathered here. Even if I were to be surrounded, I would still die. There were too many of them. Furthermore, there was a quasi-invincible existence. Even if this quasi-invincible existence wasn't invincible, he had to be careful. Ji Hong didn't say anything else. At this moment, in the wilderness, the battle had reached its most intense moment. Boom! The patriarch of the Herculean sect laughed loudly and punched a third-level Sun-Moon expert into pieces. He laughed loudly and said, the heavens I divine race is only a so-so. He had blown up a divine race expert. In the past, he wouldn't have dared to hit a divine race expert. But today, he had killed a celestial sun and moon. It was exhilarating. Zhu Li was overjoyed. He felt like he had turned over a serf and sang to all the races. He was like a grandson to all the races and a dog to the mighty celestial race. Today, he had finally turned over a new leaf. Although he had not killed the mighty celestial race, he had killed the sky-eye celestial race. As for Su Yu, he did not see the original cult master for a long time. He frowned slightly and shouted, everyone, do you want to die or live? My heaven-hunting pavilion is not willing to make things difficult for you. Capture the few humans among you and I will let you go. Humph. The sun and moon expert snorted. Su Yu said indifferently, they might be the chess pieces that betrayed the invincible human race. Our heaven-hunting pavilion earns the most information. If we kill you, we might as well sell the information. The heaven-hunting pavilion is not a pure killer organization. We only care about profit. Moreover, how long can you hold on? Is there an expert coming to help? Even if there is, how long will it take? Do you have to force us to kill you together? As soon as these words were said, the three masked men instantly retreated and fled without waiting for the others to speak. Don't test the conscience of these 10,000 races. The tactic of sowing discord was very low-end, but it was very practical. Once these 10,000 races sun and moon were truly moved, they would definitely be captured and killed by these 10,000 races as a pledge of allegiance. This was the result of the combination of different forces. Su Yu waved his hand, and 7 to 8 sun and moon beside him were already prepared. They quickly charged towards the three of them. Boom! There's the roar again. And at this moment, in the void, someone said lightly, you surround and kill them, you can cooperate, the demon race came a quasi-invincible, I help you to tie down the other party. That's it. Boom! Earth-shattering. In the distance, the void was directly torn, a demon god and a shadow instantly entangled together. The original patriarch. The demon god shouted angrily, how dare you stop me? At this moment, Eighth Elder's expression changed, and he quickly sent a message in the channel, these two are very strong, not much different from Third Elder. The meaning was very clear, they might be even stronger than him. More and more experts rushed over. Eighth Elder quickly said, retreat. If we continue to kill, we will attract the experts from the various races to watch over the human race. This time, there will be more than one quasi-invincible expert from each race. If they did not retreat, there would be more quasi-invincible experts. The heaven-hunting pavilion might be killed instead. Su Yu sighed in his heart. The human race did not have a quasi-invincible expert. In other words, they had all left. Otherwise, they would have captured the heaven-hunting pavilion and the 10,000 races together. Only then would they be able to establish their might and intimidate the 10,000 races. But now, the 10,000 races and the heaven-hunting pavilion were in a heated battle. The human race did not come. The few that came were all here to kill Lu Wenyan. He didn't want to watch the show anymore. He fixed his eyes on a human expert who was fighting with Bai Yi. Flames burst out from his eyes, and with a rumble, he burned the void. He was more powerful than before, and the void was burned by the flames. Ah! With a scream, the human expert's body was instantly burned by the flames, leaving many bloody marks. The blood flowed and evaporated in an instant. Capture these humans. Su Yu said indifferently, Elder Xian Jia, you can make your move now. Xian Jia didn't say anything more and stretched out his hand to grab a person. That person's expression changed drastically. Hiding under the mask, he didn't seem to be able to see anything. With an explosive roar, he slashed out with his saber, causing Hui Yi to retreat a few steps. He turned around and burned his blood essence, wanting to escape. Xian Jia was incomparably cold and ruthless. A heavy palm slammed down. The entire space trembled. Boom! This sun-moon human was slammed into the ground by his palm. With a boom, his body exploded. In the next moment, his opponent's sea of will turned into a round bead and fled into the distance. His speed was extremely fast. Just as the black armor was about to capture him, his opponent's sea of will suddenly began to burn. Ah! A shrill scream sounded. With a boom, waves swept in all directions. A sun and moon had fallen. Su Yu's gaze did not change as he looked at the two humans who had yet to escape. He said indifferently, do you see that? That invincible person doesn't care about your lives. Once he sees that you have no hope of surviving, he will burn your sea of consciousness. Now, tell me, who is that person? Perhaps he still has a chance of survival. One of the two humans shouted sternly, we have nothing to do with that person. We are here to rescue Lu Wenyan. Your heaven-hunting pavilion has surrounded and killed us. Rescue? Su Yu smiled. Come, take off your mask and let me see. Xianzhou, you will die a horrible death. Your heaven-hunting pavilion is too deeply involved in the affairs of the human race. When the invincible human race returns, you will die without a doubt. Everyone from your heaven-hunting pavilion will die. At the side, Yi Hongyan looked at Lu Wenyan. Was he on her side? Lu Wenyan frowned slightly and said telepathically, I don't care. But Yi Hongyan was still very loyal. If she was here to save them, she wouldn't feel bad watching them die. Now that the heaven-hunting pavilion's few sun-moon advanced stage cultivators had left, if she were to make a move, there was still hope to save them and run together. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2135 2135 Chapter 469 Mass Murder 5 Lu Wenyan thought for a moment and suddenly said, please take off your masks. If you are really here to rescue us, I am willing to beg the heaven-hunting pavilion to let you off. It will be counted as part of my disciples' mission. Lord Xianzhou, is this all right? Lord? Su Yu secretly ridiculed. He didn't know what Teacher Lu would call him next time. Previously, when he pretended to be Cui Lang, he was also called Brother Cui. Su Yu smiled faintly and said, of course. He didn't believe that the two of them were here to save him. Regardless of whether it was true or not, it was beneficial to investigate the identities of the two of them first. If they were enemies, at the very least, they would know where they came from. In fact, even if they didn't know about it now, Sun Yu was still an influential figure. If they were to really die, it was only a matter of time before they would find out who they were. Of course, there were some who kept a low profile and pretended to be in closed-door cultivation. Perhaps, they had been dead for a long time, but you didn't even know that they were dead. The cultivation techniques and battle techniques of these two people seemed to be quite common, so it was difficult to determine their identities. At this moment, the quasi-invincible battle in the distance had reached a heated stage, causing the air around them to tremble. On the other side, the eighth elder also roared and smashed a sun and moon into pieces with his palm. More and more suns and moons fell. There were still 17 or 18 suns and moons before, but in the blink of an eye, quite a few of them had been killed. The two sect masters, Great Strength and Earth Fire, fought a battle of convenience, which was also first-rate. With their combined strength, these two killed 3 sun and moon realm cultivators. At this time, there were only 10 sun-moon realm warriors and 2 humans left. They had also been slapped by the mystic armor until they vomited blood, but they still hadn't taken off their masks. Suyu roughly understood. If it had been that invincible person, they would probably be dead by now. These two, probably belonged to some big manners, so it was difficult for them to take off their masks. However, the sun-moon realm of the big manners hadn't been restrained by that invincible person in the Sea of Will, thus, they weren't killed. Suyu sneered in his heart. People from the great manners. He didn't know which manners these two were from. Perhaps they came from 2 different manners, or they were simply from the Holy Land. And at this moment, Eighth Elder sent another message, "It's time to go. I've already sensed that another expert is coming." There were still 10 Sun and Moon Realm experts from the 10,000 clans, and 4 late-stage Sun and Moon Realm experts were still alive. The other experts of the 10,000 clans would definitely come to rescue them. Previously, they thought that one quasi-invincible expert would be enough. In the end, they were stopped by the original cult master. Now, there were probably more top-notch experts who had come. Suyu was silent for a moment. He quickly sent a message, "Everyone, go all out and attack. Kill everyone below the 7th stage. Eighth Elder, do your best to kill the others. Leave Lu Wenyan and the others to the original cult master. Wait for the next quasi-invincible expert to come and surround and kill the original cult master. Leave them to the primordial sect leader." The eighth elder pondered for a moment before nodding slightly. Perhaps this was a good idea as well. Otherwise, the primordial sect leader would definitely run away. However, since the other party had appeared, it was likely that he had the intention to protect Lu Wenyan and the others. Killing Lu Wenyan or taking Lu Wenyan away would cause the Heaven Hunting Pavilion to be hunted down by those people. Since that was the case, staying behind was a good choice. All right. The group of people attacked one after another, and the battle instantly entered its peak. As for Suyu, he wasn't idle either. He continued to collect some blood essence and extract some blood. Seeing that some people couldn't hold on any longer, Suyu suddenly punched out, killing a human expert with one punch. Blood splattered everywhere. Suyu's face was cold. Behind him, Yi Hongyan wanted to kill this guy several times. Even now, she was still not sure if that person was on her side. Seeing that the other party had been beaten to death by Suyu, she was still a little angry. Lu Wenyan didn't mind. He had asked them to take off their masks several times, but the other party wasn't willing. There was no need to ask, they were enemies. Kill them, kill them. His attitude toward these people was the same as Suyu's. They were more hateful than the 10,000 races. They deserved to be killed. If the Heaven Hunting Pavilion didn't come, he would have to pay any price to kill these fellows. After killing for a while, an incomparably powerful figure appeared in the distance. It seemed that he was about to arrive. Suyu took another look and found that he had almost killed them all. There were dozens of sun and moon cultivators from before, but now, only 3 of them were at the late stage of the sun and moon realm, struggling to survive. In a short while, these people would all die. Suyu didn't care whether they were dead or not. He laughed and shouted, "Original cult master, Sir Nanwu Jiang, we can't protect Lu Wenyan anymore. Sir, please take care of him." Then, he shouted, "Retreat." With that, 8th Elder turned the situation around and sent Lu Wenyan and the other two to a place not far behind the original cult master. He laughed and didn't care about the 3 people who were struggling to survive. A group of Sun and Moon Realm warriors put away the remains of the corpses and disappeared one by one. More than 20 Sun and Moon Realm experts came and left even faster. However, a total of 21 Sun and Moon Realm experts had been killed here. There were a total of 24 Sun and Moon Realm experts from the 10,000 tribes and the human race. 5 of them were in the late stage of the Sun and Moon Realm, while the rest were in the early and middle stage. Now, 2 of them were in the late stage of the Sun and Moon Realm and 19 were in the early and middle stage. Today, the Sun and Moon Realm experts continued to fall. It was also the day that the Sun and Moon had fallen the most in the history of the human realm. The entire Earth had completely collapsed, and the sky had also been dyed blood red. On the other side, the original cult master let out a loud shout, and his palm blasted the demon who was about to be invincible to retreat. He quickly turned around, stretched out his hand, and grabbed towards Lu Wenyan and the other 2. He brought a few people with him and disappeared in an instant. In less than a second, a god who was about to be invincible descended. He exchanged a glance with the demon who was about to be invincible. The demon expert's eyes were cold as he looked at the demon who was still alive in the distance. He shouted, "Chase Yuanshi. Lu Wenyan is in his hands." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2136. 2136 Chapter 469 Great Killing Embryo 6. The 2 of them didn't say anything more. They quickly broke through the void and chased after the original cult master. On the side of the heaven hunting pavilion that had already retreated, 8th Elder sensed for a moment and smiled. "Xianjiu, you're right. Those guys really went after the original cult master. It was very satisfying. They killed to their heart's content." In the end, the 2 quasi-invincible experts didn't chase after them. Instead, they went to chase after the original cult master. Lu Wenyan was a target. Whoever brought him along would be unlucky. After killing more than 20 Sun Moon Realm experts, everyone was incomparably happy. The heaven hunting pavilion didn't suffer any losses except for a few Sun Moon Realm experts who were injured. However, the heaven hunting pavilion had a quasi-invincible expert who had been suppressing the other party from the beginning to the end. Suyu smiled, "Elder, you and the mystic armor, great strength, and earth-fire realm experts will go back and kill those 3 late-stage Sun Moon Realm experts. After that, you won't admit that we did it. Since those 2 quasi-invincible experts spoke up, we won't admit it." They looked at him and wanted to kill him back. Suyu smiled and said, "Since those 2 have left, why not kill them? These guys are all our hindrances. If we want to seize the relic, they are the vanguards. If we kill one, we will lose one. Just nice, the primitive ones will be the scapegoat. We can just wrangle. Our heaven hunting pavilion didn't kill anyone." 8th Elder looked at him and smiled. "All right." The 4 late-stage Sun Moon Realm experts instantly disappeared. The 3 of them were all at the critical stage of the Sun Moon Realm. Since the 2 quasi-invincible realm experts were chasing after the primordial lord, they could just kill them at the same time. In less than a minute, another intense battle erupted in the distance. Among the 4 experts, one was still quasi-invincible realm expert. Now that he was dealing with the 3 remaining Sun Moon Realm experts, Suyu soon saw 2 full moons crashing down. It seemed that the 2 7th-stage Sun Moon Realm experts had been killed. Soon, the Sun Moon Realm experts returned. 8th Elder hurriedly said, "Let's go. That 8th-level demon has run away. He has run to that quasi-invincible demon's side. It's not easy to kill him. Kill the other two. Everyone looked at each other and laughed. They didn't care about this and quickly left. They came and went like the wind. And on this day, the news also shook the heavens. In one battle, 23 Sun-Moon realm experts had died. Among them, there were 4 experts at the late stage of the Sun-Moon realm who had surrounded and killed Lu Wenyan. Only one demon at the 8th stage of the Sun-Moon realm had been seriously injured and was on the verge of death, but he had survived. And the battle hadn't stopped yet. The original cult master was Nan Wujiang. He had saved Lu Wenyan and the others, and while he was escaping with them, the celestial race and the demon race were almost invincible. They had been chasing after them, and even the heaven-hunting pavilion, the biggest executioner, couldn't care about them anymore. Of course, the name of the heaven-hunting pavilion spread once again in this battle. The living 8th-level Sun-Moon cultivator had escaped back to Nan Yuan. He almost cried and complained to the other races that it was all done by the heaven-hunting pavilion. This pavilion was ambitious and had colluded with the primitives to kill all of them. Nan Yuan, in the city. Lord Xia Ho glanced at Hong Tan and was speechless for a long time. Your grand disciple is really the embryo killer among the embryo killers. Among the 10,000 clans, Xia Longwu was definitely not the one who killed the sun and moon the most. Right now, there was a high probability that Suyu had killed more than 50 sun and moon directly and indirectly by his hands. If this was in the human realm, Suyu would have killed all the sun and moon in 1 or 2 manners. This guy was almost invincible. Hong Tan was also speechless. After a long while, he said, "This guy. The key is that he lost my senior brother. This primitive, if it wasn't for the 3rd generation. Wasn't that kid Suyu too ruthless? He lost your teacher. If the primordial was a bad person, wouldn't your teacher be finished? As for killing so many Sun-Moon tier warriors, fine, just get used to it. He had already killed a large number of invincible ones in the heavenly battlefield. It wasn't just 1 or 2 who had lost their 3rd generation." Lord Xia Ho said in a deep voice, "It's fine. Your grand disciple also understands that regardless of whether that fellow is real or fake, the probability of him dealing with Lu Wenyan isn't high at this moment. If he's real, he won't deal with him. If he's fake, since he's pretending, he has to act a little better. He'll let Lu Wenyan reach the southern Yuan." Hong Tan thought for a moment and could only nod his head. He hoped that his senior brother was fine. He could only hope. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2137. 2137 Chapter 470. 1. The original cult master ran off with Lu Wenyan. Su Yu and the others once again went into hiding. Great Xia Manor. Purple Moon City. A city close to the west of the Great Xia Manor was also a city with a large population. In a large courtyard. This was a courtyard bought by the spies of the Myriad Clan cult. Of course, it now belonged to the heaven-hunting pavilion. This place wasn't too close to Nanyuan, nor was it too far. It was only over 500 li away. At this moment, a group of experts were beaming with joy. Split the money. This time, they had killed so many sun and moon, earning a huge profit. All of their blood essence, money, and the like were equivalent to 3,000 heaven hunting points, which was equivalent to 3 million human merit points. Was that a lot? It wasn't too much. Of course, this was because some of the items these fellows used were sold at a low price. Some were directly destroyed, leaving nothing behind. Even so, 3,000 heaven hunting points was still a lot. On average, each person would get around 150 points. This time, the platform didn't get any commission. Because this time, the business of Jing was very dangerous, and Su Yu and the others didn't use the platform's channel this time. In the end, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion waived the commission under the application of the Eighth Elder. These people, some received around 100 points, and some received several hundred heaven hunting points. The Heaven and Earth Mystic Light was priced at 20 heaven hunting points. If they actually bought it, it would be white flour, and the price would usually be 12 points. The Sun Moon Mystic Yellow Liquid was priced at around 50 points, and they could probably get it for 30 points. In other words, this time, everyone earned 3 to 4 drops of Sun Moon Mystic Yellow Liquid, and it was normal to earn 7 to 8 drops more. It was very rare for someone to earn so much in one go. This time, the gains were great, but there was no commission from the platform. In addition, the losses were also small. Even if no one went on missions, everyone would still get more. At this moment, all of them were beaming with joy. Su Yu finished distributing the money and was just about to go cultivate, and the Eighth Elder entered and waved at him. Su Yu hurriedly stood up and followed him out of the door. In a side hall beside the courtyard, the Third Elder, whom he hadn't seen for a long time, was also there. Not only the Third Elder, Su Yu's heart suddenly tightened. Other than the Third Elder, there was another one. The Third Elder and the Eighth Elder were actually quite easy to distinguish. The number of golden patterns on the masks were different. This was the difference in their identities. This one, on the other hand, was casually wearing a gray mask. This was a low-grade mask. However, the other party's posture was natural and unrestrained. In the main hall, this person was sitting while the Third Elder and the Eighth Elder were standing. Su Yu was shocked. Invincible? Or was it the other law enforcement elders? Minister, Xianjiu is here. The Eighth Elder spoke, and Su Yu's heart was even more terrified. He was really invincible. Not daring to be negligent, Su Yu quickly suppressed the palpitations in his heart. Lowering his head, he said in a deep voice, "This subordinate Xianjiu greets Minister." Which department's minister? There were 4 ministers of the 4 departments. It was said that the minister of the Sky Department had never appeared before. In that case, it meant that he was one of the other 3 ministers. The gray-masked minister chuckled and said, "Xianjiu." He seemed to be sizing up Su Yu. This time, he's very brave. The Sky Hunting Pavilion has never fought head-on. If he wants to kill, he should assassinate. The people on the east and west floors are scolding me, saying that the 4 departments have stolen their business and are now acting as assassins. Su Yu did not dare to make a sound. The gray-masked minister laughed again and said, "Of course, I'll scold him back. That's because the east and west floors are incompetent. The 4 divisions can collect intelligence, do business, make money, and kill people. If this goes on, the 2 floors and 2 pavilions can be cancelled, and all of them will belong to the 4 divisions." Su Yu lowered his head. He didn't know what kind of character this invincible was or what kind of temper he had, so he didn't dare to speak recklessly. The Eighth Elder smiled and said, "You're joking, Minister. We just happened to meet at the right time. The original cult master happened to be there, so we took the opportunity to kill some powerful enemies to avoid causing us some trouble in the future." The gray-faced minister smiled faintly and said, "I didn't say it was inappropriate, it's fine. If we kill him, then we kill him. As for the crimes of the various races, do we have any evidence? Just like what Xianjiu said, we'll push it to the original cult master. As for what the 8th level Sun Moon said, will it be true if he says so?" The silent Third Elder also smiled and said, "Minister is right, they didn't catch us again." The 4 divisions of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion were also guest assassins. Of course, the premise was that they were not caught, and it was best if they did it in a place with no people. If there were fewer people, they could act as assassins. If there were more people, the 4 divisions would still have some face. Seeing that Su Yu did not speak, the Third Elder smiled and said, "Xianjiu, this is the minister of the Yellow Division." The reason why you were able to come to the human realm this time is related to the minister's recommendation. Otherwise, as a resident of the ancient city, it would be very difficult for you to get such an opportunity, not to mention that you would have to use the Heaven Yuan Qi to dissolve the aura of death. The third elder smiled and said, the facts have proven that the minister is farsighted. Xianjiu is indeed capable. Now that the Heaven Hunting Pavilion has grown stronger and killed a large number of potential enemies, none of the 10,000 clans have a greater confidence than our Heaven Hunting Pavilion. On his side, there were a total of 10 elders at the advanced stage of the Sun-Moon realm. Including Su Yu's side, the strength of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion this time was terrifyingly powerful. There were more than 30 suns and moons, including a large number of suns and moons in the late stages. There were also 2 quasi-invincible ones. Now that the minister's third generation had come personally, it was even more terrifying. Even if invincible came, the minister's third generation could still fight. Of course, it was not clear which generation came. It was most likely the future body. Under normal circumstances, the past body would rarely come alone. Because they were weak, most of them did not have invincible combat strength. Minister Huang. Su Yu's heart moved slightly, but he did not dare to let his imagination run wild, because this person was invincible, even though it might not be his real body. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2138. 2138 Chapter 470. 2. The gray-faced minister smiled and said, there's no need to brag about me. I was just casually saying that I took a fancy to Xianjiu's business in ancient Starred City and completed a large number of transactions, which strengthened the reputation of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. After saying that, he looked at Su Yu again and said with a chuckle, Xianjiu, you did very well this time. You were very decisive. Of course, you also caused some small troubles. Don't worry about these. Troubles and gains are always together. Sorry for the joke, Minister. Su Yu lowered his head and said in a low voice, I was a little reckless. I provoked many enemies for my Heaven Hunting Pavilion. All the CC in the world come for benefits. Minister Huang said indifferently, there's no need to think too much about things that have benefits. As for offending people, all the clans want to destroy us. It's not just 1 or 2 clans. They've long thought of that. Unfortunately, they can't do it. Because they don't know our roots. They can't find us, and they're afraid of killing you. They want us to assassinate their eternity. After saying a few words, the head of the Huang department said with a faint smile, these aren't important. What's important is to get the tombstones. This time, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion's biggest target isn't those objects. It's not the Heaven Yuan Qi, the Sun-Moon mysterious yellow liquid, or those ancient inheritances. It's the tombstones. As long as we can get the tombstones, everything else is easy to talk about. Su Yu's heart froze. Third elder and eighth elder hurriedly said, don't worry, Director, we'll definitely do our best to seize them. Director Huang nodded slightly. He said indifferently, under normal circumstances, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion won't participate in the competition for these ruins. At most, we'll spend money to buy them. However, this time is different. There might be other objects, but the tombstones might only be this one. All the clans want it, but they can't give it to us. Even if we don't know what use it is, it doesn't matter. If we take it away and really give the 10,000 clans a true emperor, it would be a huge problem. Even our Heaven Hunting Pavilion might not be able to protect ourselves. We can't use it, and we can't give it to others. Su Yu and the others nodded and understood. They were secretly shocked. Was this thing related to becoming an emperor? Was it really that mysterious? Su Yu did not dare to think too much. He was afraid that this invincible would see through him. Minister Huang continued, this time, I'm not here to help you. I'm here to stop some people and stop some experts. The relic still needs to be robbed by you. If I interfere, the nature will change. Third elder hurriedly said, Don't worry, Minister. We have already made arrangements and preparations. Don't worry. Department head Huang said indifferently, I'm not at ease. No arrangements and preparations are foolproof. Moreover, this time, there are more experts than you can imagine. Also, this is the Xia family's territory. Don't think that without the Xia family's emperor and Xia Longwu, there's nothing you can do. This time, the Xia family has the intention of drawing out the human race's invincible traitor. More and more people can see this point. The minister of the Huang department sighed, if that person really appeared. I'm afraid he would also covet the one tombstone. Su Yu had been holding back his words, but at this moment, he still spoke. Not speaking did not suit his character and identity. He carefully said, Minister, I have some doubts. Tell me. First, why did this invincible human betray us? Second, Sir is the minister of the Huang tribe. The Huang tribe has information on him. Then, does Sir not know who this person is? Third, this person should be colluding with some of the powerful tribes of the 10,000 tribes. Back then, the Heavenly Abyss tribe, the God tribe, and the Demon tribe participated in the war. Which tribe did this person join? Su Yu felt that he was not the only one who knew this person's identity. Some of the top experts of the 10,000 tribes might also know. Otherwise, how would they dare to cooperate? Of course, it was also possible that they did not know. Cooperating in secret did not necessarily require knowing his identity. As soon as these words were said, the two elders became interested. The eighth elder also said, Sir, this person has already reached the invincible realm. Could it be that he thought that the human race would definitely lose and had no hope, so he chose to betray us? If it was to say that he wanted to go further, there was almost no hope. Even the 10,000 clans could not help him to go further. If he relied on himself, the Demon Emperor and the others were still half-emperors. The minister of the Huang department smiled and said, when the human race suddenly appeared and betrayed the invincible realm, the experts of each clan would discuss and judge. As for who it was, I naturally don't know. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion has yet to investigate this level. However, there are many reasons for betrayal. Just as the eighth elder said, perhaps he felt that there was no hope for the human race. He peered into the future, discovered something, saw something, was influenced by the future body, or perhaps the future body was actually a traitor. He felt that his words were a little complicated. He smiled and said, it was the future that he saw. In the future, he himself was a traitor. Then, he might have been influenced by something, and in the end, he chose to defect. Or perhaps, his relatives, his family, needed to verify the Tao and needed some precious treasures. The myriad clans provided them for him, and he chose to defect. Or perhaps, he was a small world that had verified the Tao, and the small world that had verified the Tao was threatened by someone. There was a possibility that it would be destroyed. In order to protect himself, he chose to defect. There were many reasons, or perhaps it was more straightforward. He was a descendant of a deity and devil, so it was normal for him to defect. Su Yu was surprised. A descendant of the gods and demons? Minister Huang smiled and said, it is very normal. More than 400 years ago, the human realm opened up a passage and 10,000 races entered. At that time, some experts, whether they were women or men, might have had some relations and gave birth to a descendant. It was very difficult, but there were still some. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2139. 2139 Chapter 470. 3. Su Yu did not say anything. He had been suspected of this before. Back in the Yuan Qi mystic realm, Pavilion Elders Nie and Huang had suspected that Su Yu was a descendant of the mountain-breaking ox. Absorbing the mountain-breaking ox's blood essence was too fast. Minister Huang said with a smile, more than 400 years ago, let me think about it. It has been nearly a century since the humans opened their residences. They grew up during that period. In the chaotic era, no one would pursue it. After they opened their residences and successfully attained Tao, probably no one would know his identity. It is normal whether he is a descendant of gods or demons. Su Yu was stunned for a moment. He couldn't help but ask, is it possible that there are descendants of the 10,000 races among the invincible human race? It's possible. The minister of the Huang department smiled faintly and said, perhaps that person felt that his other half's bloodline was more noble and powerful than the human race's bloodline. Therefore, it's understandable that he defected to the 10,000 races. It's even possible that his father or mother found this person and convinced this person. Bloodline. Su Yu's heart moved slightly. He wanted to ask some questions, but it was not appropriate. It was not appropriate for him to ask, but the eighth elder did not have such scruples. He opened his mouth and said, Sir, after the human race opened the mansion, there should be a few people who are invincible in the Tao, right? The minister of the Huang department said with a smile, of course, everyone knows about the Tao. Of course, except for the Tao in the ruins. Based on what we know, after the human race opened the mansion, there were 11 Tao cultivators and 36 people who opened the mansion. However, the Great Wei King, the Great Wu King, the Great Qi King, and the Great Qin King, the four who opened the mansion, died eternally. In addition, some of the immortals who established their manners also died. For example, the brother of the Great Zhou King, the Little Zhou King, and King Pinghai, who had just established his Tao 300 years ago. 9 of the later Tao protectors survived. There were another 32 who established their manners. There were a total of 41. They are known as the immortals of the human race. Of the 9 who survived, 4 of them established their Tao in the small realm, 2 in the human realm, and 3 in the heavens. Only at this moment did Su Yu know the specific situation of the human race. He also knew that there were 41 undefeatable ones who were clearly still alive. Among them, 32 of them attained Tao in the human realm, and 4 of them attained Tao in the small realm. Third elder said hesitantly, that means that the traitor should belong to one of the 9. It's hard to say. The minister of the Huang department smiled. Anything is possible. Who can guarantee that those unrivaled founding fathers won't betray us? Of course, the probability of betrayal was lower when one reached the human realm. If one really destroyed the human realm, the 34 experts who reached the human realm would suffer a backlash. However, that traitor didn't say that he wanted to destroy the human realm, did he? Everyone shook their heads. In that case, it was still hard to judge. Minister Huang smiled and said, actually, that guy can't be hidden anymore. Chen Yong killed someone, Ji Hong found someone, all of these are narrowing the target. That person can't be hidden anymore. So this time, the Xia family is trying to lure him out. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion was an intelligence organization after all. Minister Huang was in control of everything, so he had some understanding of this. He smiled and said, if I'm not mistaken, the target should be between 3 or 5 people now. In fact, I can roughly guess who it is. Of course, we can't be sure who it is yet, but once a powerful and invincible person appears in the multi-divine literature department and proves his Tao, even if he doesn't succeed, the value of this 9th level Sun-Moon expert might be higher than that of an invincible person. At that time, all the human race's invincible hearts will shift a little, and this person really can't hide. Third elder continued, are you talking about Lu Wenyan? Yes. Minister Huang nodded, it's him. Once he enters the sun and moon, he might be able to step into the 9th level of the sun and moon very soon. Is it more important for him to be a multi-divine cultural system that is about to reach the Tao, or is it more important for him to be an invincible traitor? The human race will make a choice. Therefore, This is the only chance for that person to kill all of Yi Beishan's descendants and stop from doing so. He will show the human race that he and Yi Beishan's descendants are just personal grudges. This way, the great Qin king and the others might still let him go. Su Yu said softly, in that case, that person will definitely appear this time. Then, what is the great Xia manor relying on? Is it done just by fishing him out? Could it be that they are relying on the original cult master and that this person might be an expert from the southern borderless? Otherwise, even if the divine language faculty is killed and that person is fished out, he might not necessarily die, right? Southern borderless. Minister Huang muttered, it's possible. Of course, it's also possible that it's not. The Xia family should have been prepared for this for many years. In my opinion, there must be a way to deal with Invincible. Otherwise, luring the other party out would be suicide. If not for the fact that the Southern Borderless is powerful enough to fight Invincible, or that the Xia family still has invincible combat strength. Of course, Su Yu knew about this situation, but he didn't say it. Then the other party should have guessed it too. Sir, does that person still dare to appear? Department head Huang smiled and said, that's hard to say. Maybe he'll take a gamble. If he doesn't, there won't be a chance. If he takes a gamble and succeeds, then he won't have to worry about the future. After chatting for a while, Department head Huang quickly bypassed this topic and said with a smile, Xianjiu, how has your body been recently? You haven't been tortured by the aura of death, right? Thank you for your support, Minister Huang. With the support of the heaven's origin Qi, the impact is not too great. That's good. He nodded slightly. Elders in the pavilion, you have your own mission. Your mission is to lead the other white-masked men and continue to create an advantage for the heaven-hunting pavilion. Among the non-elders, you are very trustworthy and reliable. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2140. 2140 Chapter 470. 4. Thank you for your kind words, Minister. Su Yu thanked him. Yes, he was very trustworthy. Minister Huang smiled again. Also, don't go overboard with your little ideas. For example, this time, to protect Lu Wenyan, the pavilion's intention is to kill him. Don't be too narrow-minded. Su Yu was shocked. The eighth elder couldn't help but say, Head, Xianjiu is doing this so that we can safely escape. The head of Department Huang raised his hand gently, he smiled and said, I'm not saying that he didn't do a good job. He protected Lu Wenyan. I know what he's thinking. He wants Su Yu to know that you protected his master once. He hopes that Su Yu can open a convenient door for you and cut off the death aura passage, right? Su Yu was stunned. Holy shit. That's right. Su Yu was overjoyed and didn't dare to reveal it. He hurriedly said, Minister. I knew that I couldn't hide it from the adults. I do have this intention. Actually, I don't really want to make a move against the multiple divine languages department. At the very least, it can't be me. If I want to escape, I still need Su Yu to be magnanimous. Otherwise, with him around, it'll be very difficult for me to escape my identity as a resident of Ancient City. However, sir, the heavens and earth can bear witness. I only acted according to the situation and absolutely didn't betray the interests of the pavilion. This time, I didn't kill Lu Wenyan because the original cult master is nearby. Once we kill him. Moreover, we might not be able to kill him. Lu Wenyan hasn't exploded Yi Bai's divine literature all this while, so I think he still has the confidence. The minister of the Huang department said indifferently, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but there are some things that depend on luck. On Su Yu's side, you have also saved Lu Wenyan this time. Previously, you even brought people to escort Hong Tan and the others. If Su Yu is a kindred spirit, he will naturally open the door for you. Only then did the third elder and the eighth elder react. Damn! They were almost swayed by this kid. Right, he had protected the multi-divine literature department several times, but it wasn't necessarily for the sake of the public or for his own selfish motives. Protect the multi-divine literature department, why? Now, they had thought of it. For Su Yu, because the death aura channel was cut off, the undead that had transformed into Xianjiu would appear. At this moment, they needed to kill this undead. However, the overlord of ancient starred city was Su Yu. If Su Yu did not nod his head, they would not be able to kill him. They would not even be able to enter the city. Eighth elder could not help but say, Xianjiu, this little 99 of yours, you can just say it directly. I really did not think too much about this before. If I kill Lu Wenyan, your side, indeed won't have much of a chance. Su Yu said helplessly, so others can kill many divine literature department experts, but I can't. If I kill them and the news spreads out and Su Yu finds out, I will eventually have to return to the ancient city. The two elders sighed. They had almost forgotten that this fellow was still a resident of the ancient city. The third elder smiled and said, I saw that you have been lively recently, and even forgot about this matter. From the looks of it, changing your undead should only be a mountain and sea, so killing it should not be difficult. How about this? If there really is a mission to kill the many divine languages department, you can choose not to participate. At the moment, you don't lack a sun and moon combat power, so don't worry. A favor that went along with the flow was given away. As for Su Yu, he cursed in his heart. This gave me the best reason. I can completely not attack the many divine languages department and even protect them. The reason is very simple. I have to curry favor with Su Yu. I've even forgotten that I'm still a resident of the ancient city. Xianjiu can actually be considered as Su Yu's subordinate. In this way, I don't need to rack my brains to think of a reason to protect Lu Wenyan and the others in the future. The reason is simple. Protecting them is protecting myself. Su Yu glanced at Minister Huang and felt slightly suspicious. This person has given me the best reason. He won't suspect anything, right? At this moment, the head of Department Huang didn't say anything else. He said indifferently, everyone has their own thoughts. It's normal for everyone to be selfish. Third elder and eighth elder also want to seize the object. The cultural tomb is secondary. I understand this. However, remember, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion is the foundation. The benefits of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion are the most important. Without the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, lone travelers won't have a good ending. As long as we don't destroy the overall situation, we won't be unreasonable. Do you understand? Understood. The three of them replied one after another. Their hearts froze. The faces of the third elder and the eighth elder were covered in sweat. It was obvious that Minister Huang had spoken to their hearts. One tombstone. It's useless to me. Their goal was very simple. Look at how many objects there were. Two of them were the least. If each of them had one, the two of them wouldn't have to worry about attaining Tao. It was enough to carry a whole life. They were almost invincible now. Everyone had their eyes on the tombstone, but the two of them had their eyes on the object. In fact, many quasi-invincible people had the same idea. After all, becoming the emperor was too far away from them. And now, Minister Huang had come personally. Perhaps he had seen through all of this, which was why he wanted to intimidate Su Yu. At the same time, he also wanted to warn Su Yu not to go too far. It was fine to protect the many divine inscriptions, but the prerequisite was that it would not affect the Heaven Hunting Pavilion from seizing the tombstone. Su Yu was also helpless. His heart was tired. Actually, he was thinking about a problem. If I said that I would directly give the tombstone to the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, would the Heaven Hunting Pavilion be able to produce 6 unrivaled experts to help me kill the unrivaled experts who had betrayed me, and then help Xiao Long attain the Tao? If it was possible, I would directly give it to you. The tombstone was important and seemed very precious, but Suyu didn't care too much about it. As for the inheritance of the multiple divine inscriptions, if it was broken, then so be it. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2141. 2141 Chapter 470, Strike. Subscribe to it. 5. If there's a green mountain, there's no need to worry about firewood. Unfortunately, he didn't dare to say it, nor did he dare to mention it. Now that the plan had reached this stage, Suyu was almost dumbfounded by the self-detonation. The heaven hunting pavilion wasn't anything good either. Suyu and the others were struck for a while. Very soon, Minister Huang left. After the three of them sent Minister Huang off, they felt a little more fortunate. There was also a hint of warmth. They were in the same boat. Suyu smiled and said, "Elders, are the main targets all the carriers?" The eighth elder had been with him for some time, but he was not as cold as before. Hearing this, he sighed and said, "At our level, isn't this what we're looking for? Carriers are hard to come by. The third elder and I were able to get one each. We've already used up many years of savings. We've used up many years of accumulated merits to get this. This is a rare opportunity, and the elders of the law enforcement department were all tempted. They all wanted to fight for this opportunity, but we got it. If we miss this opportunity, we might have to wait another 100 or 1,000 years before we have the chance to accumulate so many merit points and wealth in exchange for a carrier." That was why they had been aiming for this from the start. But now, the head of Department Huang had pointed it out. Suyu understood. He sighed, "This subordinate only wants to survive, to survive." However, Department Head is right. Therefore, the best outcome this time is for us to seize all the treasures in the relic. If we're convenient, we can help the Department of Multiple Divine Languages. I can use this opportunity to talk to Suyu, even if we can't cut off the passage in the relic this time. Next time I'll try to go to the Starry Mansion and cut off the passage. Perhaps we don't need to arrange for people to kill them. It's more suitable for Suyu to kill the undead. Suyu sighed. "It's just a small thought. I'm sorry for making a fool of myself." The third elder smiled. "It's nothing. All living beings have selfish motives. If you, Xianjiu, say that you're willing to give up your life for the mission of the heaven hunting pavilion, then we really have to think about it. What else do you care about? This kind of person is either a saint or one who seeks more and greater things." Suyu said embarrassedly, "Unfortunately, now that the minister has said so, I don't dare to use public tools for personal use anymore." "It's fine." Eighth elder chuckled and said, "It's just a small matter. Actually, the minister doesn't care. If he really cared, he wouldn't have gone so far." Suyu nodded. However, he still had some fear in his heart. "Minister Huang, what's the situation?" He was the one who called for him to enter the human realm. This time, he released Lu Wenyan and he came to beat him up. However, he also found a good excuse for himself. "This person wouldn't know who I am, right?" "That's not right. If the black armor was a human, then Minister Xian might know something about it." The yellow division and the black division were not in sync. The black armor was not under the control of the yellow tribe. Suyu had a headache and did not understand. However, he still had to be careful. Now that he had encountered these unrivaled experts, he felt extremely guilty. Fortunately, his divine prose was a little stronger now, and his strength was also much stronger. The head of the yellow tribe did not carefully examine him, so he should not be able to see anything. The great Ming King was so strong that when he had caught him back then, he could not see anything. The minister of the Huang department was only a third generation, so he shouldn't have noticed anything unusual. He consoled himself for a while. Suyu gritted his teeth. "No, my strength is too low. I'll cast 61 tonight. I'll take a break for the next few days and complete the 62 casts as soon as possible. After completing the 62 casts, the strength of the apertures would exceed 660,000. With the opening of the young aperture and the enhancement of the divine runes, as well as the imminent transformation of the saber chi in the 144 apertures, Su Yu's strength might reach 800,000 apertures. With 300,000 acupoints, he could be considered as an ordinary first-level Sun-Moon realm expert. A normal second-level expert would be able to reach around 500,000 while a third-level expert would only be able to reach around 800,000. In other words, after Su Yu completed the 62 forging in a few days, with his full strength, he would be able to fight against an ordinary third-level Sun-Moon realm expert. With his physical body at that stage, it shouldn't be a problem for him to devour the blood essence of a sixth-level Sun-Moon realm expert. With the outbreak of the war, he should at least be considered as a sixth-level Sun-Moon realm expert, right? When Lu Laoshi arrives at Nanyuan, Su Yu made up his mind and went into seclusion. In the past few days, he hadn't done anything major. If he continued, all of the clans would come to kill him. Killing more than 20 Sun-Moon realm experts this time wasn't a small matter. Just as Su Yu was about to enter seclusion after being beaten up for a while. In a wasteland. Yi Hongyan coughed and looked at the primitive religious leader whose back was facing her. She asked hesitantly, "Are you really from the southern borderless?" She shielded Lu Wenyan behind her with some uncertainty and vigilance. "No." The primitive religious leader said indifferently, "Sky Hunting Pavilion and Blue Sky are just framing us." "No. No, why did you save us?" The primordial sect leader replied calmly, "I was entrusted by someone." "Who?" "You will naturally know in the future." After saying that, the primordial sect leader disappeared from where he stood. His voice sounded, "Lu Wenyan, take care of yourself. There are too many people who want to kill you. As for Ji Hong, I will take him away. It is best that you don't know what he has found so that you don't misjudge anything." "Who the hell are you?" Lu Wenyan shouted, but the other party had already vanished. Yi Hongyan glanced at him and shook his head. "He's gone. This time, it's simply baffling. First, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion killed those fellows, and then the primordial sect leader came to save you. Wenyan, your luck is truly unrivaled. This time, it was too dangerous." The dangerous Yi Hongyan was even prepared to self-destruct to kill the enemy. Dozens of sun and moon, and 2 quasi-invincible. In the end, they were actually alive. Nothing happened. On the contrary, those sun and moon were almost killed by others. Lu Wenyan was actually confused too. He said helplessly, "This Heaven Hunting Pavilion really accepted Su Yu's mission?" Su Yu was willing to spend a lot of money. 500 drops of sun and moon mystic yellow liquid. Even if he sold it, it was not worth this money. Yi Hongyan sighed, "This cheap disciple of yours is worth it." Lu Wenyan nodded. "Forget it." He didn't know the situation for the time being, so he didn't care about all this. He returned to the Southern Yuan first. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2142. 2142 Chapter 471, Huang Jia and Huang Jiu 1. Nanyuan. More and more experts gathered. Even though more than 20 sun and moon experts had been killed, they still couldn't stop everyone's enthusiasm. Is Lu Wenyan here? If he's here, will the relic be opened? That's not necessarily the case. If he's here, will he be able to open the relic? Let's just let Su Yu come. There were many discussions. The atmosphere was boiling. There were many experts and geniuses. In the past few days, battles between geniuses and experts happened frequently. Humans and humans fought. Humans and myriad races fought. It was common for myriad races and myriad races to fight. Gods and demons were not friends, and immortal dragons were not one. At this moment, someone shouted, "Heaven hunting pavilion, kill them." As soon as he finished speaking, an 8th-level sun-moon aura erupted from a distance. The demonic god that had almost been killed instantly charged over, along with a 9th-level sun-moon of the celestial race. The 2 sky-hunting pavilion members that had just entered, or rather, snuck in, were shocked. A faceless elder immediately pulled a white-faced person and fled. The white-faced person was still shouting, "It's a misunderstanding, a real misunderstanding. We are not from the sky-hunting pavilion. You still want to lie. Can you hide it? Kill them." The white-faced man's expression changed drastically. F***ck. More than 10 sun and moon warriors were coming. He said in fear, "Elder, go. Hurry up and run. Run." The elder did not say a word and just ran away. Even though he was at the 8th level of the sun and moon realm, he was still running very fast. He had to run. There were several 7th and 8th level sun and moon warriors chasing after him. "It's a misunderstanding." A shrill roar was heard. The white-masked man said in a desolate manner, "I'm not. I'm Huangjiu, the traitor of the heaven-hunting pavilion, Huangjiu. I admit it. I'm a traitor, all right. I'm a traitor. I was just thinking that the white-masked man's mask was not bad and could even conceal his aura. He had gone into closed-door cultivation with the elder these few days. I really don't know what happened. How did the heaven-hunting pavilion become like this? Did everyone want to be beaten up? I really didn't know anything." He was thinking that the heaven-hunting pavilion was in charge of gathering information. Now that the human realm was the most accessible, of course, the southern origin would have the most information. In the past, the heaven-hunting pavilion didn't have much to do with any major battles. When the heaven-hunting pavilion went to gather information, under normal circumstances, no one would care. Therefore, the moment he came out of seclusion, he and the elders came to the southern origin. But, what happened? What happened? Why did they treat us like this? He shouted loudly and mournfully, "It's really a misunderstanding. I'm not from the heaven-hunting pavilion." The people chasing after them actually believed him. The heaven-hunting pavilion people were not stupid. They probably did not dare to show their faces at this moment. These 2 foolishly rushed over. There was a high probability that they really did not know what had happened. Of course, they could not rule out the idiots from the heaven-hunting pavilion. They felt that everyone could still tolerate them now. After being killed so many times, how could they not take it seriously? At this moment, when they heard that the other party was Huangjiu, they roughly knew the situation. That idiot Huangjiu. He slandered Xianjiu as Su Yu and sent the heaven-hunting pavilion to find trouble with Su Yu. In the end, the fellow who was tricked by Su Yu to kill an elder was wanted by the heaven-hunting pavilion. Even so, someone still shouted, "Kill them. They are spies of the great Xia mansion." Once these words were said, another sun and moon shot out. "Kill them first." Even if these 2 were not from the heaven-hunting pavilion, they were still from the great Xia mansion. Don't forget, the reason for these 2 betrayals was because they colluded with the great Xia mansion, betrayed Xianjiu, and tricked Kai Yi and the others to kill them. In that case, these 2 could also be killed. Before Huangjiu and Huangjia could say anything, an 8th-level sun-moon realm aura erupted from behind them. He shouted angrily, "How dare you! You dare to kill the people of my great Xia mansion. You should be killed." Boom! A great battle broke out. In an instant, 7 or 8 late-stage sun-moon realm cultivators joined the battle. Huangjia and Huangjiu couldn't care about anything else and just ran away. They ran away crazily. More than 10 minutes later, Huangjia was panting heavily. He threw Huangjiu aside and said while panting, "No one is chasing us. It was the first time. It was really the first time that he, an 8th-level Sun-Moon Realm cultivator, was running in such a sorry state. It was too tragic. If it weren't for the people behind him stopping him, he might have been beaten to death even if he was an 8th-level Sun-Moon Realm cultivator. It was too terrifying. What had happened in the past few days? Huang Jiu was also gasping for breath. After a while, he looked like he was crying. He howled, "Elder, it's over." Those who came later were from the Xia family. Now, the two of us are definitely on the Xia family's side. The Xia family is fighting against 4 to 5 late-stage Sun-Moon cultivators for the sake of the two of us. If we aren't on the same side, can we work so hard? Huang Jia was slightly stunned and was speechless for a long while. That's right. The Xia family had sent 4 to 5 Sun-Moon cultivators for the sake of the two of them. Master Xia Ho had personally made a move to fight against the god, devil, Sun-Moon. Who would believe that the two of them weren't from the Xia family? At this juncture, the Xia family had started a war at the slightest disagreement. They were risking their lives to protect them. Huang Jia glanced at Huang Jiu. After a long while. Suddenly, he said in a low voice, "The Xia family knows that we are not in cahoots with them, yet they still did this. Isn't this admitting it without a fight? Either it's purely to trick us, or there's something wrong with Xianjiu. The Xia family is going to confirm our identities." Huang Jiu said gloomily, "I know, but Elder, does anyone believe our words? Who would believe it? We're Heaven Hunter Pavilion traders. What a sad thing. We're traitors." Huang Jia was also depressed and could not help but ask, "Tell me, is there anything wrong with Xianjiu?" Huang Jiu thought for a moment and said uncertainly, "It's hard to say, really hard to say. What I'm more curious about now is what the Heaven Hunter Pavilion did. The moment we appeared, we were hunted down. Is this digging up their ancestors' graves?" Huang Jia thought for a moment and agreed. "Let's figure out the situation first." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2143. 2143 Chapter 471, Huang Jia and Huang Jiu II. As for Xianjiu and the Xia clan, they would have to put them aside for now. They would have to figure out the situation first before they could decide on how to deal with it. Right now, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion wanted to kill them, outsiders wanted to kill them, and the Xia clan wanted to protect them. Perhaps, the Xia clan would also want to kill them when no one was around. They were both depressed, but they hadn't done anything since they arrived at the mortal realm. Not only did they lose their identities as elders and White Mask, but they were also being chased by a large group of people for no reason. The two of them were experts after all, so they put on a disguise. Soon, they received information from some cultivators who had gathered in Chaonan Yuan. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion had done something big. This time, they had killed 23 Sun-Moon Realm experts in the area between the Great Zhou Manor and the Great Gold Manor. They had dispatched a quasi-invincible realm law enforcement elder. They had almost killed the 8th-level Sun-Moon Realm expert who had been chasing them, Demon Tao. No wonder that person who had seen the Heaven Hunting Pavilion wanted to bite them to death. He was lucky that he had managed to escape from the 24 Sun-Moon Realm experts. They had found an uninhabited place. Huang Jiu and Huang Jia looked at each other, speechless. It was not wrong to be hunted down. This was the effect of intelligence. If they did not know the basic intelligence, they would die if they ran around blindly. Huang Jiu was speechless and transmitted his voice, "Elder, there is definitely a problem. When did the Heaven Hunting Pavilion become so tough? They killed dozens of suns and moons in one go. This is Xianjiu's handiwork." As he said that, Huang Jiu continued, "The Xia family covered for Xianjiu and confirmed our identity. Elder, Xianjiu, he is definitely Su Yu. Last time, he had really said it casually. But now, thinking about how strange the heaven hunting pavilion had been lately, that method of killing countless suns and moons, are you sure that this isn't Suyu? Huang Jia said after a long while, guessing is useless. Do you want to let the heaven hunting pavilion test Suyu again? If you think the heaven hunting pavilion dares to do so, you can go and confront them. Huang Jia was speechless. Stop fooling around. The heaven hunting pavilion will kill me. Last time, when I went to test them, an elder died. Now, if I go to test them again, how many people are suitable to die? Test my ass. It's fine if you say that Xianjiu is someone else, but if you say that Xianjiu is Suyu, no one will believe you now. As for the method and style, if Suyu dares to cheat and kill people, would Xianjiu not dare to? This was not exclusive to Suyu. Huang Jia was helpless and said gloomily, now we can't take the identity of the heaven hunting pavilion anymore. Elder, if we take this identity again, everyone will be at fault. Do you want to take it or not? Forget about losing the mask, we won't be able to gain favor from both sides, and we'll have to take the blame for others. The elder thought for a moment and nodded. Yes, we can't take it anymore. If we take it anymore, we won't be able to live. If we take it again, we won't be able to gain favor from both sides. It was too tragic. The heaven hunting pavilion wanted to hunt them down, the 10,000 races wanted to kill them, and the human race might want to kill them as well. He wouldn't be able to live anymore. Sigh. With a sigh, Huang Jia said dejectedly, I've been in the heaven hunting pavilion for 100 years, and in the end, I'm in trouble. It's not easy for me to become an elder, and you've made me suffer. You can't say that. Elder, it's you who's doing too badly. No one will believe your words. Look at the black-armored elder. If he says that there's no problem with Xianjiu, then people will believe him. By the way, could there be a problem with the black-armored elder as well? Huang Jia was speechless. If there's a problem, that's scary. If there was a problem with the black armor, what about the head of the Xian department? Of course, there was also a problem with him and Huang Jia. If there was no problem, he wouldn't run away. As for the head of the Huang department, Huang Jia transmitted his voice, Elder, what's the situation with the head of the Huang department? Are you on the same side as him? Huang Jia said unhappily, what do you mean by, on the same side? This is called discerning the pearl. The head thinks highly of us and doesn't care about our status and background. He took us in. Then what do we do now? Nothing. Huang Jia said irresponsibly, it's all because of you. You insisted on causing trouble and insisted on being together with that Xianjiu. Now we're screwed. Sigh. Huang Jia said again, Elder, do you think the department head really knows our identity? Then how would I know? Then why are you still saying? Huang Jia interrupted, alright, let's not talk about this anymore. God knows what other people are thinking. But even if he didn't know in the past, he might know now. If there's no problem between us, why would we run? Huang Jia said regretfully, that's true. We shouldn't have run back then. At most, we would have been investigated. They might not have found out about our identities. Department head Huang might have known long ago, but they didn't take it seriously. We were scared out of our wits. What bad luck. Huang Jia was speechless. Weren't those words meant for you to run? I told you to go back, but you refused to go back no matter what. Otherwise, why would I run? Just as he was thinking, Huang Jia suddenly asked curiously, Elder, is your mask broken? It's actually glowing. As he said that, he smiled and said, are you asking us to throw this thing away? Even if it's broken, the Elder's mask won't work either. It's only glowing when it's located. The head of the Huang division is still in the heavenly battlefield. Is he trying to locate you through the heavens? As he said that, Huang Jia's expression suddenly changed. Without saying anything else, he turned around and ran. Huang Jia's expression also changed. He quickly threw down his mask and was about to shatter. F***ck. He had been located. This shouldn't be. He was an elder, and only his immediate superior could locate him. However, his immediate superior was invincible, the head of the Huang department. How could this be possible? That person was still in the heavenly battlefield. Just as he was about to shatter, he heard a chuckle. If I were you, I wouldn't shatter. It's better for me to stay. After all, I'm still a peak Earth soldier, right? Huang Jia's expression changed drastically. In the next moment, he said with a humbled and trembling face, this subordinate Huang Jia greets the minister. On the other side, Huang Jiu, who was escaping, was spinning. In the blink of an eye, he crashed into Huang Jia with a bang. In the next moment, without saying a word, he lowered his head and said loudly, this subordinate Huang Jiu greets the minister. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2144 2144 Chapter 471 Huang Jia and Huang Jiu subscribe, 3. Both of them were shocked, and they felt despair and sadness. They couldn't live anymore. They had just been chased by someone, and it had been the sun and the moon before. Now, the invincible minister Huang had actually killed his way to the human realm and personally chased after them. This. Let's just die. Their luck was too bad. A figure appeared in front of the two of them. It was the minister Huang in a grey mask. He strolled leisurely and walked down from the sky. He smiled and said, Huang Jia, why did you run away when you saw me? Sir, I didn't run away. Huang Jia defended himself very quickly. He said pitifully, Sir, I didn't betray you. It was Xianjiu who slandered us. Yes, slandered us. Sir, we know a shocking secret, a huge secret. I was just thinking of a way to report it to you. What secret? Tell me. The minister of the Huang department walked over gently and helped him straighten his messy collar. He patted him on the shoulder and said with a smile, Tell me. Don't shake your legs. Don't be afraid. Yes, I'm not afraid. Huang Jia said nervously, It's like this. We found out that there's something wrong with Xianjiu. Is he Su Yu? The minister of the Huang department smiled and said, Is it this huge secret? Do you want the heaven hunting pavilion to test him again? The 3rd and 8th elders of the law enforcement department have tested him several times. Why don't we have Eternal personally go to the ancient city to check if Su Yu is there? Despair. Huang Jia was in despair. What did this mean? Did he not believe it or did he not care? On the side, Huang Jiu was so scared that his legs were trembling. He wanted to cry. Why did department head Huang come? The reason why they didn't lose their masks was because they thought that the other party wouldn't come. If he didn't come, they could pretend to be from the heaven hunting pavilion. But in the end, the director of the heaven hunting pavilion really came. The director of the heaven hunting pavilion smiled. He reached out his hand and slowly took off the mask of the yellow armor. He smiled and said, Back then, I was the one who personally brought you into the heaven hunting pavilion. Yellow armor, tell me, do I know your identity? That, sir. The mask gradually came off, revealing an immortal-like old face. The director smiled and said, Your face is still so innocent, so immortal-like, so righteous, and upright. It has been 100 years, but this face hasn't changed much. Director. The director smiled and said, Don't be nervous, don't be nervous. This face is good, very good. It seems that you are used to this face. Who is this little Huang Jiu to you? He reached out his hand to grab Huang Jiu's mask. Huang Jiu wanted to avoid it, but he didn't dare. He could only bitterly let Director Huang take the mask off. The moment he took it off, Director Huang seemed to be stunned for a moment. A woman? Director Huang was stunned for a moment. He couldn't help but laugh and said, my eyesight isn't good. This is still a girl. I thought it was a naughty boy. TSK, Huang Jia, where did you lie to me? Under Huang Jia's mask, there was indeed a woman's face. She looked very pure and innocent. She was also a little pitiful and innocent. However, Huang Jiao and Huang Jia didn't seem honest and righteous in their conversation. Huang Jia had a helpless expression, but he still looked like an immortal. He said honestly, "Sir, this is my granddaughter." Nonsense. Department head Huang smiled and said, "You're not honest, how can you lie to me? This is your granddaughter. It's not a good thing for you to lie to me, what do you think?" Huang Jia said helplessly, "All right, I'll tell you the truth. I picked her up. I really picked her up." "Elder, you picked me up?" Huang Jiao looked surprised and his eyeballs rolled around. "Elder, you said that I'm your granddaughter. How can I be picked up? You lied to me. I'll cut off all ties with you and never see you again." After saying that, he was about to run away. Department head Huang stretched out his hand and gently tapped her forehead. He smiled and said, "Don't run away. Why are you running? Little girl, you don't have to do this with me. These little eyeballs are rolling around, cute little girl." Huang Jiao was desperate. "I'm not cute." Department head Huang wouldn't have any special fetishes, right? "No, there's no need for special fetishes. She's my daughter." Department head Huang smiled and checked it out. He said in surprise, "Yo, she's a genius." "Huang Jia, where did you pick her up?" "She's a genius. Her bone structure isn't that big, right?" Huang Jia said embarrassedly, "Yeah, it's not that big. I picked her up 19 years ago." "Huh?" Department head Huang said in surprise, 19 years ago. How old was she? 2 or 3 years old. The child is too young. It's hard to determine her age. She should be around 2 or 3 years old. Minister Huang was surprised, but he quickly smiled and said, "Interesting. I picked him up 19 years ago, 2 or 3 years old. So, you killed the previous Huang Jiao, and you let this girl take his place?" "No, I didn't kill him." Huang Jia explained, "It's true. He died on his own mission, but coincidentally, the mask didn't break. When I went, he was still breathing. I thought, this mask is an Earth soldier after all. Don't waste it, so I gave it to my granddaughter. You know her identity, right?" Department head Huang said faintly, "I picked it up 19 years ago. Is it from that family?" Huang Jia said awkwardly, "I don't know. I didn't investigate in detail, and I couldn't find out either, so I didn't investigate either." Department head, "It's been so many years. What's there to investigate, right? If that's the case, he was 3 years old then, and now he's only 22 years old. He's a genius." Minister Huang sighed. This family specializes in producing geniuses. "I'm not too surprised, but you're willing to pay for it. You've used a lot of heaven's vitality in heaven's earth mystic light, right?"